check. What's up?
Are we back? I think we're back.
Okay.
Episode 3.
Here we are, episode 3, man. What up?
Clearing the throat for episode 3.
Yeah, let me get comfortable for our third episode, our third installment. So, yeah, man, today on the podcast, we are going to be talking about what's going on in Argentina and Chile.
So we kicked it off with which one?
Okay, so we kicked it off with Ambassador here, and they're from Argentina.
From Argentina.
Yeah.
Now, I've never heard of Ambassador. This is my first time. That was fucking dope.
Yeah. Great band, right? So power trio, heavy blues rock.
Yeah, clearly.
More of a stoner psychedelic than like doom metal, but it's all kind of connected there. You hear maybe more Zeppelin in that than Sabbath.
For sure, especially in the drumming.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's all there, man. We got heavy riffs.
Yeah.
Psychedelic solos.
Very. I felt Robert Rodriguez was going to walk through the door at any moment. You know what I'm saying? It was very like it's 70s. Even though when did this record come out?
Oh, this was this record came out 2018, I believe.
Okay, but it's heavy. It's like it could be on a 70s soundtrack rock of some exploitation film, but fit perfect. Just be awesome. Yeah. No, it is cool. It's very. It keeps all the hallmarks that we talked about on the last show from the history from the blues to the emotions there.
Yeah.
It's all the hallmarks are right on point.
Hear a little bit of blue cheer in that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. So we're just going in alphabetical order. What we're going to play today. There's no particular reason.
We're not.
We start with Ambassador.
So they're not the most awesomest.
Well, they would probably tell you that they were. But no, we start with them because AM, and the next band is ART. So it's just an alphabetical choice.
Okay, so now, Ambassador, do they get to come up to the States? I know we've talked about this. Oh, were we feeding back through? Yeah, it's clearer now.
Here we go.
Okay. Maybe the audio's going to be better from this point on. Do they get to play in the States very often?
I don't think Ambassadors ever come to the U.S.
Yeah. That's odd as an ambassador.
Well, yeah, right? Being the ambassador of heavy blues from Argentina. I don't know, man. I don't think they've ever played here. I don't know that the South American countries have the same fucking bullshit problems that the Mexican bands do, right? It just might just be a whole different tourist visa ball game, with those countries as opposed to Mexico, because of the
proximity,
because of the whole thing, it's a whole thing with Mexico.
So these guys, Power Trio, if there was a slider from Black Sabbath influenced all the way to we know who those guys are. Where would you put them on the?
Yeah, so most of their stuff is more it's more heavy blues rock, not so much of like a dark, heavy, riffy kind of take.
Right.
So this is probably more of like your stoner rock, desert rock vibes. Like I said, more Zeppelin influence than Sabbath, because it's just not as heavy and it's not as slow.
You did say that. That's true. Yeah,
but it's groovy and psychedelic, and it's got that heavy blues rock edge to it.
Yeah.
So it goes good with everything else that we're trying to cover.
So they're good. Like starting, since we're heading in Argentina and what's the other country?
Yeah, Chile.
So they're a good start to get into, or how heavy into the? They're a good intro band into the scene.
Yeah, a band like Ambassador, I think they're real good for like fans of Clutch, the band Clutch, because Clutch has that. Sometimes they're really heavy, sometimes they're more old school rock and roll.
Yeah.
So if you kind of dig that, I think you'd really like what Ambassador's got going on.
It's a good change up.
So this is their second record. Their third record is a little heavier. It's got more of that heavy Clutch stoner rock thing going on, but. I really like this record.
So they're constantly, not constantly, but they're open to evolving their sound.
Yeah, each of their records has got kind of a progression on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they've put out, I don't know, like four albums at this point. So definitely a band to know. Definitely a band to put on your radar or put on your turntable. As are all these bands we're going to cover. Just the whole thing going on in Argentina right now is nuts. They've been blown up for the past few years when it comes to this type of music, when it comes to the heavy rock, the heavy doom.
I might have asked you this before, off camera, but like, what do you think is the reason that South America is taking such a forward front on this, or foot forward?
I don't know. Just a lot of bands came out and kind of blew the scene up.
Yeah.
Mephistofeles is probably the most well known from this genre worldwide.
Yeah.
They've got some notoriety about them. We'll cover that whenever we get to the
we're going to have a discussion about them.
We're going to talk about Mephistopheles for sure. So they got a shout out by Electric Wizard.
Okay.
So kind of the same story with that band Devil's Witches, where he put out a top 10 list. The singer for Electric Wizard put out like a top 10 list one year of hot shit for that year.
Yeah.
And Mephistopheles was on there.
Yeah.
And so was Devil's Witches and a few other bands, and all those other bands, everyone started paying attention to them after that. It's amazing what one person, the right person, saying the right thing at the right moment.
Post it to the right place at the right time.
Yeah, everyone will fucking,
game on.
oh shit, everyone will check it out.
Yeah.
So it's really cool that happened.
Yeah.
A lot of people got to kind of dig get into what was influencing or impressing one of the most popular bands in the genre.
Well, that's usually what that kind of influence
straight
brings
up,
you.
Absolutely, yeah, right. That cred.
Mm-hmm.
So he mentioned Mephistopheles in in that list,
right? His top 10,
and then that put them on the map, and then everyone's like, "Man, these guys are awesome. What else is going on down here?
Yeah, okay.
What's going on in Argentina, man?"
Yeah.
And there's just a lot of great music. And some labels started paying attention, and Interstellar Smoke Records, and Helter Skelter Productions, Golden Dawn Recordings, many more have been paying attention to what's going on down there. Fucking Stoner Witch out of Phoenix here in the U.S.
Okay.
She pressed this record. The lady that owns that label, she put this out on vinyl here in the U.S.
Nice.
That's where this one came from. So a lot of people are paying attention to what's going on and trying to get the word out, trying to everyone check out this awesome stuff happening in Argentina and in Chile.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of great bands, and maybe that's just the truth the world over. Everywhere you go, there's going to be a great little scene.
Of course. Yeah.
And can you get that music out?
You think it would be easy in this digital world we live in, but I mean, but we do vinyl here, so that does make the wall,
getting the record,
barrier a little bit.
Yeah, getting your CDs burned, getting your record pressed, getting the tapes made. It's not an easy thing to do, and you got to have someone to kind of come in and pick you up.
Yeah,
that'll put effort behind that. These guys do a lot of. That just kind of made me think of all the DIY stuff that these guys do.
Yeah.
They do a lot of really interesting stuff. They're really into the old analog technology, and they put out a lot of stuff on cassette. And some of the first things I started doing to kind of get into what became Things From Beyond was making the Coffin tapes, and
right.
So it was a South American band that I first started doing that for. We're gonna play them next. So
now wait, I think I might have asked you this before, but was it the Coffins?
Yeah, the Coffins
were your idea.
Well,
but the tapes they just wanted to release the tape.
Yeah. So so Arteaga, which is a band we're gonna play next.
Yeah.
They're on Interstellar Smoke Records, which is out of Poland, and he's got all kinds of amazing international stuff.
Yeah.
He's got Mexican bands, a lot of South American stuff as well, and bands from all over Europe. He's got a really impressive catalog.
Yeah.
So he's a really important, force in the worldwide scene here.
Yeah, there's going to be at least one.
Definitely inspired me in a lot of the Things From Beyond stuff, and,
nice.
and the scene that it can be done. Someone can start a label and get it going. So anyway, I had been making, little spooky arts and crafts, and had made some little pre-made coffins, bought them at a craft store and painted them. And he saw them and reached out on Instagram, and he said, hey, can you fit a tape in there? Can you fit a cassette in here? I said, no, but I can make you some that can. Let's talk. That's a really cool idea.
Yeah.
So he was doing a cassette release for Arteaga, like a double cassette release, like two tapes in one package.
Yeah.
And he put out kind of like it's like an audiobook version where you get the big plastic thing and open it up and there's 2 tapes in there.
Yeah.
He did so many copies of that, and then he wanted me to do so many copies of the coffin.
Yeah.
So I made like 25 of those little wood coffins. Had to special make them wide enough that they could fit 2 cassette tapes in there, and hand painted them all, and that was one of the first things I did that eventually morphed into this project.
Yeah.
So
that's a limited run, man. 25.
Yeah, just a 25, man. Yeah, I mean, these things take a lot of time to make, and
yeah,
I fucked up on a lot of them, had to redo them, and I didn't have a whole lot of material. Where I was staying at the time, I didn't have a whole lot of space to
set up an assembly line.
Yeah, so it was really tough making all those, but got it done, and everyone liked them. So that's good. Everyone was happy with them. But it was just cool. That was a really cool project, and it was a South American stoner rock band that kind of got all this going.
And that introduced you. Were you already aware of what was going on, or did that kind of open it up for you?
Yeah, I had heard. When I found out about Mephistofeles, I started getting real curious about what was going on down there, and then I found Arteaga like next.
Yeah.
And then found all these other bands. So those 2 bands were kind of my gateway into all that stuff. And then from that, I found out about all the stuff going on in Mexico.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it doesn't take long, because it's like the algos will find you and they'll be like, "Oh, do you like Arteaga? Do you like Ambassador?"
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I see you've been searching South America. So it makes it easier than ever to link other bands in that same genre.
I'm actually wearing an Arteaga T-shirt today.
There you go. Wait, are they okay? So who do we got next? Is Arteaga next?
Yeah, so let's play Arteaga next, man.
Okay.
So check out Ambassador. They're awesome.
All right.
Everyone, go out and just get all their stuff. But let me flip that, and we'll put in Arteaga and listen to that, and then see what you think.
That's all. Let's go.
All right.
Sol calienta el cuerpo.
So.
Okay, man. What'd you think?
Arteaga.
Those Arteaga, man. They're from Chile.
That breakdown got me, man.
Pretty cool, huh?
It got me. I zoned out there for a bit.
That's what they want you to do, man.
I was like, okay, where are we going? Let's. I'm in on this journey. Let's go.
Yeah, they're pretty trippy, huh? They take you out there.
Yeah.
They're very into mushrooms.
Okay.
And it's like a psychedelic, psychotropic.
Yeah.
Psychedelia. It's all very much part of their approach.
They want to be there on the ride with you. They're like, hey, yeah. I think I know where you're going. Here's a little music to take you, to guide you or to take with you.
Yeah. They've referenced LSD and mushrooms quite a bit in their aesthetic. Yeah.
Do you think they write that way when they're tripping? Is it possible to write music? I mean, of course you can.
Yeah, man. I'd be willing to bet that these dudes, go up into the mountains with some serious shit.
Yeah.
And take their guitars with them.
Yeah.
And come back down with a record. Yeah, totally. Yeah. They're really cool. So I've gotten to interact with Frank, the singer and the bass player, a little bit.
Awesome.
He's a really cool guy and amazing vocalist and bass player.
Okay, so
and an artist as well. He does all of their covers and fold outs and everything, and posters and T-shirts. Is the
guitar player the vocalist or the bass player?
The bass player.
He's the vocalist.
Yeah,
okay.
Vocalist and kind of the head guy.
You see that a lot in doom and metal. The bass player.
The bass player being
sings
up front
a lot. Yeah.
Doom is really with Doom. The bass is really fucking important. So it's not like other kinds of rock or metal. I mean, the bass is really essential in getting that fucking low end. That mass that you need to to
if
really
it's gonna
get
be
there.
heavy. Yeah.
So the bass player, thus
a lot of the
is
times
gonna be out front.
That's true.
Literally.
You see it happen more often.
Yeah, I think
scene.
so. Yeah, in this style of music, yeah, definitely. But Frank's a really cool guy. It was really cool working with him on that stuff. He's hilarious.
Argentina or Chile?
They're from Chile.
Chile again. Okay, so we're still in Chile.
No. This is the first band from.
This is the first band. Argentina was.
Yeah,
Argentina. Okay.
The first band was Argentina, and they're from Chile.
Okay.
And then I think the rest of the bands that we're gonna do tonight are all Argentinian.
Argentinian. Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's interesting. Look, we're not. This is not a history lesson on Chile, but they've had some shit. They've had some shit go down.
Yeah.
And
so is Argentina. I mean,
exactly.
South America has had a lot of drama in its history.
Yes.
No thanks to our CIA.
Yeah.
But it's not that kind of podcast. So
no. Yeah. We only talk doom metal. The music. This comes up obviously because it's a part. That culture is gonna bleed this.
It is. Yeah.
So,
they're gonna react to it. They're gonna respond to it artistically. Yeah. So
which we talked about in the history of doom. It does. Yeah. It kind of comes out of a reactionary music scene anyway.
So that made me think about a point I wanted to bring up. A lot of these guys, so they're South American countries, Catholicism.
Yeah.
That's the dominant religion.
Catholics.
And it strongly influences their politics and their daily life.
Yeah.
Way more so than we pretend it doesn't, up here.
Right.
So I think a lot of the kind of the tongue-in-cheek Satanism.
Yeah.
The ironic
occultism.
Maybe even not so much ironic with some of these guys.
No, it's not, but it's very purposeful.
But
yes.
Generally, the lack of fear for the occult and a respect of it, and to such an extent that you bring it into what you're doing artistically and how you look and how you sound. I think that is
dominates it in some cases.
Well, that's right, man. And if thinking about how your culture and history and place of existence absolutely influences the kind of art that you create, then I think a lot of what we're seeing and hearing here is very much a reaction to the Catholic Church dominating your life culturally and politically and economically and socially. Like everywhere you go, it's that institution that is influencing everything around you.
Whether it's overt or covert sometimes.
Right. Yeah. So, you're going to, react to that. Grow your hair long, smoke weed, listen to Black Sabbath, and say, fuck this, I got something to say about this.
And play your bass as loud and fuzzy
crank
as
that
you can.
fucking fuzz bass up, man, and go to town.
Yeah.
Let them have it. Let the world know you're not happy with that shit.
And because there's a lot of times it's all you can do. You know, you're not gonna overthrow anything.
Yeah.
You're not, El Revolucion. It would be nice, but people try it. But
you can try.
It doesn't happen.
You can fucking try, but
and not everybody needs to do that. Not everybody's built for that. Some people are built to heavy fuzz bass.
Right. We're gonna talk about the world with heavy fuzz bass and being cheeky about acid and Satanism and occult lesbians and that sort of thing and vampire bikers and
it's effective.
It is, right. Maybe you can call out a lot of things in the world, looking at it that way.
And there's a lot of people listening for that call too. That's why this scene has such a tight knit. It's a dedicated, tight knit.
Yeah.
If you're down for a certain band and they're that you'll claim they're the heaviest thing since planet Mars.
Oh, totally. Yeah, absolutely. There's a meme that's got like the weight of the sun, the weight of a black hole, and then like the weight of Electric Wizard, the heaviest known thing in the universe. And people switch it out. No, it's the Sleep album. It's fucking Windhand. No, it's the Candlemass.
But so the sentiment is out there.
Totally. Oh yeah, absolutely.
This is if absolutely. I ride with you, I think you're the heaviest.
Yeah,
the heaviest.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's what people want. People want that that fucking heavy approach to things.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an interesting way to kind of call out the anxieties or the anxiety-inducing situations of the world is through a, kind of an occultist, hippie, I don't know, reactionary.
Well, I mean, look
worldview.
Look at the history lesson, though. Yeah. That's exactly where it comes from.
Oh, sure. Like, you're going back to what influenced Doom to prop up.
Yeah.
To propagate.
Yeah.
Spread. It was instability in the world and people reacting to that and people kind of getting wise about it and getting turned on.
Yeah.
Tuning in, dropping out, and finding a different way of thinking about things and expressing themselves through loud rock.
Well, it opened a corridor, with
portal.
Portal,
gate
to having it available.
Yeah,
it's like I don't know how to react to this. Where's the deepest, darkest corner of the universe?
What's the darkest shit that we could fucking think of?
Over here.
Yeah, right.
We got cookies.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just like you hear this heavy bass fuzz, and you're like,
there
okay.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that answers a lot of my questions right there.
Just with a little bit.
Just some ba-doom doom. Oh fuck. Okay. I don't know what that means, but it makes sense.
Yeah. Well, especially if you throw in heroic doses.
Oh yeah.
And copious amount of shrooms.
Absolutely.
Or whatever your choice.
Yeah, straight up.
Then you're definitely there.
Yeah, you're opening the doors, perception.
Yeah.
And you're getting wise about some things.
Well, but then you realize other people are already there. And you're like, fuck.
Oh yeah, you find your people. You find your cult.
you're like, what the fuck? Where have you guys been?
Yeah.
Where's this been? That's the thing that hits you too.
Okay.
It's like, how long has this been going on without me knowing about it?
Yeah, right? Why didn't anybody tell me that this party was happening down here in hell?
Yeah.
Nobody told me about this. Not supposed to tell anybody. You got to just find it.
You are told about it, but you're told not to attend. You're like, hey, you don't want to go to that party.
You don't want to go down there, man. That's just weird.
And then you go down there and you're like, oh, fuck you guys.
Yeah, it's just fucking great.
Yeah.
Anyway, I guess something like that happened in South America at some point, and these kids picked up on it and started rocking the fuck out. Most of the stuff I think everything we're listening to today is from the past 10 years or so.
Okay.
So this is it's kind of Argentina and Chile, they have long music histories, even rock and roll going all the way back since, you could do it.
Sure.
But this particular scene that we're talking about today, this is about 10, 15 years going back. So it's young.
Were these guys at the start of it or mid?
Yeah, totally. Arteaga's been doing this for a while.
Yeah.
For about 10 years or so.
Okay.
And their style has kind of grown, matured a little bit. They started out as a power trio doing this is one of their earlier tracks, this one here.
Okay.
And now the stuff that they do, they've got They've got someone on keys.
Yeah.
And they do way more like psychedelic rock. It's not so much heavy
blues driven.
Yeah. It's not so much like heavy riff like this
heavy
thing.
Riff.
Like
yeah,
this
that's
song.
what I meant. Yeah.
More of it's more like it's just more psychedelic.
More spread out.
Yeah.
And not as tight.
That's right.
Yeah, instrumental wise.
That's right. Yeah, they're not focused on like doom.
Yeah.
They're making that riff and kind of answering that call.
Mm-hmm.
Their music's really kind of expanded, man.
Yeah.
Over the past few years. So it's been really cool listening to Arteaga and hearing their sound develop. Great fucking band. They would definitely be a band I would love to bring here to the U.S. to tour.
I mean,
I don't think it's
you
that
could say
hard
that
for
about most of them, right?
Absolutely,
because none of them get to come up here.
No, Mephistofeles almost did once for a big festival in Las Vegas, and everybody was like, "Fuck, Mephistofeles is coming," but I think COVID shut that one down. Yeah, I think it was 2020.
20, yeah.
They tried to do that one, and it was
nobody's doing nothing. Don't go anywhere.
Fucked it all up.
You're not
man.
coming here.
So that was the only time that us, U.S. based Mephistofeles fans could have gone to catch the one Vegas show. But
that's something that Things from Beyond is we're gonna try to make happen. We're gonna get one of these bands up.
We're gonna fucking try, man.
Yeah.
Goddamn. We could do a whole podcast and get a lawyer on here just about immigration, about how fucking difficult it is to get these 4 metalheads from Mexico up here to play some shows. You'd think it'd be easy, but no, it's not. It's fucking hard and complicated and stupid.
Bands aren't terrorists.
No,
they can come visit.
I know, like homeboy. I know he's got tats of a dragon on his head, but he's fine. Let him in here. He just wants to play bass and hang out at my house for a while. Everything's fine.
And he'll go right back.
And he will
He wants to go back.
He wants to go home. He's not staying.
Trust me, he's going to be sick of being in this place for like, fuck, are we still playing shows?
Yeah. If I see another fucking Dairy Queen, I'm going to fucking... Yeah, anyway, we could definitely do a whole show where we complain about the
we have the lack of these bands being able to play up here.
About how hard that is.
Well, that's what none of these bands we're about to play today have played in the United States.
Yeah, I don't think so, man. Yeah.
Not a single one.
I don't believe so.
That's insane.
Yeah. Looking at my little stack here, I don't think any of these bands have ever been. I think now they've been here individually as tourists, but not for shows ever.
Not for shows.
Frank from Arteaga, he has been to Austin.
Right.
He went all the way from Chile to fucking Austin.
Right.
Which is way north. It's probably like a fucking 12-hour flight or something.
Damn.
But he went to an Electric Wizard show when they played at that Levitation Fest in Austin.
So he said, I got to see this.
So he's been to Austin.
Yeah.
But I think that's...
but that's like going... Could you imagine, would you go see the green leg from Voltron or the green arm?
Voltron, and not the whole thing?
It's like the green lion is the right arm of Voltron is going to be here.
Like, that's cool, but I want to see the rest, right?
It's like, where's
the whole fucking thing? So
where's the rest of the robot?
Yeah.
So that
Austin's not.
They can come individually, fairly easy, but as a group to play music, it's fucking
really hard
end of the world.
Yeah, it's really fucking hard to do that.
All right, but we'll work on that. All right, what do we got next?
So coming up next, man, what are we doing here?
We're staying in Chile, right?
No, we're in Argentina.
Back to Argentina.
Okay. So this is a band called Black Furs. And we're going to play one of their tracks. This is another like heavy blues rock, stoner rock kind of band. And we're going to get this rolling here. Black Furs.
I just want to make sure this is... What am I looking at here?
It's what you think it is.
Oh, shit. It is what I think it is. Good God.
We should probably mention these outrageous album covers that we often...
You should see this cover.
What do you think?
I didn't... Is that...
That is what you think it is, ladies and gentlemen.
I've always heard of this. I never thought thought it would make a good album cover
until today.
But until today, that looks legitimate too.
Yeah, I don't think it's photoshopped or staged or anything, but I think that's really happening in the photo.
Jeez, Louis. All right, well,
that's from an old magazine, probably filled with photos of such.
Even if it's happening or not, Just the fact that like, nope, this is our album cover. That is a bold fucking move, and it's fucking. There you go.
Let's fucking spin this and see what it sounds like. All right, here we go. Black Furs, ladies and gentlemen.
one of my things getting into this sound altogether, and I think I said it the other episode was once again another case of, hey, we're gonna practice really hard to sound sloppy, and we're gonna sound loose. Yeah, the tightest loose band ever. If that makes sense?
Yes, yeah. So I think we're hearing a lot of that throwback, so like a garage kind of sound, where stuff was recorded at really loud volumes, and a lot of it was like a straight live session from the band, not a lot of overdubs or second takes or anything.
Yeah.
So I think they're kind of going for like that live,
because there is always
raw energy.
There's always, because you hear people say all the time, "Oh, the record doesn't capture them live."
Yeah,
you know?
Right. Because well, there you go. A lot of stuff, contemporary stuff, popular stuff, music these days. Right. It's very controlled. In the studio, it's not capturing like a moment. I think a lot of the bands today that we're listening to are trying to kind of capture some of that similar.
Right.
That rock doesn't have to be, or metal, any of this doesn't have to be so polished and so perfect.
Right.
That there can be a lot. There can be a lot of
imperfections.
Imperfection. A certain margin of error.
Sure.
That actually kind of brings life into it.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
You know, and it gives it an edge. Back to that word raw. Because it's not so controlled. There's you kind of let the passion out.
Well, it kind of and it works.
Capture that.
It works with the vinyl medium too, because it's
sounds
like
awesome on
vinyl,
because
if it's a digital, if you're listening to an MP4 of a live session that they're sloppy and they're fucking up, but they get through it.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck this. But if you throw the record on, you're like, all right, I did all this to get to this point. We're gonna all right. I see what they're doing. I see where they're going. I see you didn't want to go there, or you did, or whatever. You appreciate. I don't want to say you appreciate it more. It's just a different experience, because if it's just, I can go click, pause, stop this.
Right.
Next.
Yeah, you can't do that here. No. You have to get up and move the needle.
Yeah.
And look on the back and see which song you're trying to play and count which one it is. There's a lot. You might as well just let it play.
Yeah.
Just let
and then you realize, you're like, oh, actually, I wasn't. Well, if you're already throwing this down, you're good with whatever's about to happen.
Probably, yeah. If you got the Black Furs on vinyl,
you're not worried about that.
No, man, you're ready for a raw experience.
Okay, so all right, I know everyone can see it. So if you caught the beginning of this, when I asked you, and when you watch it back, when I asked you to see the cover, I was asking you to see, I was like, is that dog attacking somebody? And I was not wrong. I just wasn't exactly correct.
There's a mounting.
There's
a domination occurring.
And I'm like, okay, so this kind of fits into what we're going to get to with record label or record covers here in a little bit. But this is a good start to prep you for what you were about to show.
Yeah, we got a pretty nasty one coming up, man. Yeah, we do. We got some dirty pictures to show everyone. But sex, drugs, and rock and roll, it all kind of comes together.
Is this the tongue-in-cheek side, or are these guys serious?
I hope that they're not into Dobermans and dames, whatever you got going on here. I hope that this was just a shocking, edgy, funny cover, something to get people talking about your band.
It's not a series of covers, right? The next one is not going to be.
Like a lot of their covers are, got naughty pictures on them or something, something kind of.
But not all in this theme, this genre.
I think this is it. I don't think that this situation is repeated. This is not a narrative that we often revisit with this band. I think it's just on this cover that they were like, yeah.
You know what? Fair enough. Fair enough, right?
Right.
I mean, look, you're going to do it one time. Okay.
Yeah, art, freedom of expression, all that.
Sure.
It's those high heels that gave it away.
That's when, so
that's your context.
Well,
what the fuck's going on?
So
in that
back
picture.
to
it's the high heels.
When I asked for it, I was like, okay, he's not attacking. Like the teeth are not biting. I don't see. However, there's another individual present, and then I saw the high heels, and I was like, oh,
yeah. Then the story comes together,
it
man.
came
you know
together,
what's going on,
and then all the other details started flooding in. Like she's wearing like bondage cuffs.
Yeah, like I was just about to say, man. There are links for chains on those cuffs she's wearing. So I mean, that shit could get worse.
And you know what ties it all together is the 70s background wall.
Yeah, check out that like that.
It's like a curtain. That's probably a curtain in a hotel
room. It's like a
room.
wool curtain or something, you know. At the sketchiest hotel room
imaginable.
Yeah, that you can find.
It's the
that's where they had this party.
It's the kiss on top. That lets you know this is probably a real picture.
Isn't that great?
You just can't fake that.
No, you can't.
I mean, you can.
What would an AI version of that look like?
It wouldn't have that. It wouldn't have that.
No, probably. Oh, you'd have to be very specific.
It'd be a version of that. Yeah, that would look.
It'd be some
bad,
lame AI version. This is the real deal. That's a real situation.
And now watch, they're going to email us. No, guys, we created AI. We used that with Photoshop. Well, maybe we'll have them on to explain.
Yeah, we'll call them up. We'll ask the Black First what the hell they were thinking when they.
And we'll be like, hey, when's the next photo shoot, guys, for your next cover? So instantly, obviously, I see that and I'm like, why isn't the record playing already? And I was just like, all right, I got to listen to this. What do you got? And they fucking deliver. So this one's it's I don't want to say it. It's very slower tone tempo.
Well, on that track it was.
That track. That's what I wanted to ask. Is that how they normally play?
No,
or is that
they're more like a Led Zeppelin influence kind of thing. But it's all got that heavy bluesy psychedelic vibe. It's very very riffy.
Yeah.
It's just more on like the rock and roll end of the spectrum.
Right.
Not so much the heavy metal. But that's why I wanted to play that song, because it's got more of a doom.
Yeah. Okay.
Thing going on with it.
Well, okay. That brings up an interesting point.
Yeah. What's that?
Do bands kind of slip in and out of that?
Oh, totally.
Nexus.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, not saying that they can't or anything like that. But they tend to.
That's what I like about a lot of these bands is that they don't just every song is a doom metal song, right? You know, they're rock bands, they're metal bands. Yeah. They're gonna kind of skate the lane there. What am I trying to say? Kind of run the spectrum. You know what I mean? They're gonna
run the spectrum.
Yeah, they're gonna play. Everything within the larger style that they can.
Yeah. Right.
But it just all kind of comes back to a certain root in the sound, in the entire how they're going at it.
Okay.
There's something that it all has in common that brings it back to the main idea.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
Of doom.
Because that's what I'm saying. When you said it pretty well when you're like, every song can't be. I mean, I'm sure there's certain bands like we don't give a fuck. Oh,
yes, there are. Everyone,
yes.
But I guess I prefer to listen to bands that maybe kind of open
exactly.
It up a little bit.
No, and I get it because I'm sure people watching are probably like, well, does every band fucking just constantly do this?
A lot of them do.
A lot of them do, but there's a lot that will expand and run the full spectrum of their abilities.
Well, think of Black Sabbath. Like, not every single Black Sabbath song is like the maximum heaviest song it could be.
Right.
They've got, love ballads. They've got kind of trippier songs. They've got some that are, more bluesy. Some that lean more metal.
Yeah.
They give you the audience a variety, but. So I think it's interesting when bands do that, and the Black Furs will do that. They're mostly kind of like faster edge rock and roll, but when they slow it down a little bit like that, it's really cool.
Yeah.
So that's why they deserve a mention here in our trip to South America today.
Okay. So are we staying? What country are we going to next? Back to Chile or staying?
No,
in Argentina?
Man, we're staying in Argentina, man.
Okay.
So this next band here, this is Fulanno. Really badass. So this is going to be more of a doom metal kind of thing, less psychedelic rock, stoner rock kind of thing. This is more of a Black Sabbath inspired Electric Wizard worship.
And so when did this album come out?
This album came out, I think, in
But 2020s, after 2000,
18.
right?
Oh yeah. This is
Well,
after 2000.
the only reason I bring it up is because of the cover aesthetic. Like, it's like a screenshot from a 70s horror film.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
You know, and it's like
it's probably from one of those Hammer films. Yeah,
it looks like an Italian horror film.
Yeah,
you know,
and the woman's running around in a negligee.
Yeah.
In a castle,
nipples exposed,
nipples out. She's young and beautiful. Something is about to tear her to pieces. Unfortunately, poor gal. So yeah, Fulanno. So they're from Argentina. They are on Interstellar Smoke Records, the label from Poland that's doing all that amazing work.
Yeah.
So this is a great example of one of the bands on their catalog.
All right, what's the name of this track from?
We're gonna play the title track.
Okay.
It's called Velas Negras. I think it means black candles.
Okay.
Or black veil. No candles.
Well, she's holding a candle.
She's holding a black candle.
Yeah.
She's looking at it with that sultry look.
I'm sure someone in the comment section will let us know exactly.
I think we could Google it. I mean, we're smart, man. We could figure out what the fuck it means. I think it means black candles.
Google Translate on? We have live Google Translate.
You'd have to go turn it on. All right, well let's get this track spun. Let's do it. Fulanno, here we go.
right. So I gotta ask:
All right, what
is there a discussion in the community about trying to still sound like Sabbath?
Oh, absolutely, man.
Because that sounded a lot like Sabbath.
That's Sabbath worship.
Yeah.
So people are trying to. I think people kind of find that root sound.
Yeah.
And try to grow something from there. Sabbath is where they start.
Yes.
And
it seems like this root didn't grow very far. But I mean, it's not an insult. It's just saying that they fucking sound. That's all I was thinking of. This guy, he sounds a lot like Ozzy. He's where his vocal influence is coming from.
Okay, yeah, higher range.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, come on. I mean, I'm trying to put it delicately, but I'm not condemning in any way. I'm just, as someone who's new to this scene, and I'm like, all right, because when I've written songs before, I'm like, I've thrown away songs, so I'm like, damn, that sounds exactly like Black Flag or Descendants or whatever. And I was like, when I wanted to present it to the rest of the band, I'm like, they're gonna fucking hate this because it's my favorite bands, and I hear it in my own music.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. In a lot of doom, I think with a lot of doom bands, they're trying to get that Sabbath core.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Sabbath worship in doom metal, genre in the field.
That's
straight
fair.
up.
I think that's fair. Is that a problem or is that fair?
No, I mean I don't think it's an interesting question. So someone is an outsider coming in and like
right,
just within a few sessions of this, right? There it is, right? You hear it. So that's obviously something to point out. That's a discussion point to put on the board. That doom bands worship at the altar of Black Sabbath, and what I hear is, I like with Fulanno, I hear that Sabbath influence, but they're definitely doing their own thing with it.
Okay.
They've got this down tempo spaced out,
it does sound like it was recorded in a big room.
Yeah, they have the huge sound, and the way that they do their vocal melodies on top of the riff and the fuzz is really cool.
Yeah,
I really like the way they do that.
It's not on top. It's like in the mix with everything else. The vocals.
Yeah,
it's like everything is across the board. The vocals don't stand up here, and the music's down there.
Hey, that's a good thing to point out about like doom metal is in stoner and psychedelic rock, is that the vocals really aren't up here like fucking David Lee Roth, right? He's not the loudest guy.
Right.
The vocals are in there with everything else.
Yeah.
Often with a lot of effect and a lot of fuzz.
Yeah.
To kind of ride with the guitars and the bass.
You do notice that with this a lot, too.
Yeah, is that they're all kind of fused together. They really don't kind of punch out the way that a lot of other genres might mix their sound.
I don't see the crowd as that type. Well, I'm sure there's some egos, but I don't see them musically as like, I have to be up front or whatever. My vocals need to be louder.
Oh, no,
my guitar needs to be up front.
It's going to be, that's going to be a battle between the guitars and the bass on who's going to
be the loudest.
Who's going to be out front and the loudest.
Yeah,
I mean, that goes all the way back to fucking Cream.
Oh, that's right.
That's what they would do on stage. They would just crank it up. And poor Ginger Baker there in the middle, just going crazy.
Yeah, that kind of contradicts the what we talked about earlier. Okay, so I see. There, it is obviously a human condition that is different from band to band, but like a lot of the times you're gonna see where everybody is mixed in for the most part, and I mean it's all loud, but like the vocals aren't standing out.
Well, I think that is something that has developed probably in the 90s, and that's part of the contemporary sound.
Okay.
I think back in the 80s, 70s, 60s, they didn't mix it that way.
Right.
That's the new take on it. Like I'm saying, they're trying to get at this core of what Black Sabbath was doing, and then doing their own thing. And then these doom bands kind of starting in the 90s started mixing the records a lot differently than they were mixed in the 60s and the 70s, which were sort of like standard rock and roll. The drums should be like this, the bass should be like this, the guitar should be here, and the vocals are sharp and crisp and on top of everything. And in the 90s, kind of as part of the grunge thing, actually.
Yeah.
We'll get into that connection when we start talking about part of the history of Doom. We'll do 90s Doom.
Sure.
That's where Electric Wizard starts becoming
a thing.
thing.
That's when they pick up.
Yeah. So this, honestly, the way that this is mixed is more like how Electric Wizard mixes their stuff.
Okay.
So I think that's a long way to kind of get it at the point that you're making.
We're going to hear this
in
again.
a lot of ways. Is that we're going to keep hearing this post 90s.
Okay.
The way that this is mixed. The vocals are there and they're Aussie influenced and everyone's still doing the Sabbath thing.
Right.
But it's a new take on it, the way the band is approaching the sound.
Got it.
Like Fulanno's got this groovy space metal thing going on that I really kind of dig.
And especially at the beginning of the song, you can hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You hear it right away.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't hide it.
Yeah. So I think thematically, these guys kind of shift from your haunted castle to mysterious outer space.
The deepest
trip,
depths of space.
Yeah. Just go in the darkest fucking places you can and write a groovy riff.
It's like, do you know where Star Wars took place? Go 10 more thousand galaxies to the left or right of that. Darker than that.
Yeah.
Further away in space.
Wherever like the Event Horizon ship went to.
Yes.
The dimension of chaos, and it came back all fucked up. That's probably what's going on in some doom metal minds. Is they're tripping out over there. That's where some of that shit's going.
So, all right. Okay. So,
Event Horizon.
And just to tie it back again, I don't know why. What the fuck? Google AdSense.
So, I count on Mr. Checkhorn to run the monitor system over here.
Hey, I'm the tech
and
guy.
He's the tech, and I
fucked it up.
Yeah.
Okay. And the only reason I'm doing this.
Because you're closest to it?
No. Titties.
Oh, okay.
Well, we're going to talk about the cover. Oh, well, where's the...
I put it over here. You're perving out on it, man. I don't know what you're going to do.
Well, I mean, look,
you want to gawk at it in a minute? Here, go ahead.
I do.
Check it out.
We're talking about covers today, and we will always talk about covers because physical medium.
Oh, well.
And we want to appreciate the cover art.
We got to get into the... Okay, why don't you finish your point, and then that's going to be a nice,
I have 2
dirty transition.
I have 2 points.
I bet you have 2 fucking points. Fucking dirty motherfucker.
That's why they
wait
put it
till
on
you
the
see
cover.
what I got waiting for you over here.
I know. But look, at least let's do the family friendly before we get to the other. At least this is family friendly.
Compared to the rest of it, yeah.
At least, yeah.
Fucking doom metal has got some dirty ass.
Well,
thoughts.
I mean,
some fucking dirty motherfuckers in doom metal, dude. Look at that.
Well, if anybody's been watching the show so far. But at least this is like, okay.
She is beautiful though, like.
But that's a part of the. But you said it earlier. It was
poor gal's gonna get
sacrificed.
She is. Dude, something
sacrificed.
Terrible is gonna happen to her.
This is the virgin sacrifice.
That poor girl, man.
And I mean, they do not care. They said they looked at this and they were like, "What does she represent?"
Yeah, right.
Virgin sacrifice. Deal.
Yeah, deal.
Yeah, we like this cover. I mean, which is a great cover. I like it too. That's why I brought it back up.
It is.
But it's a big part of the Doom.
It's heavy and it's also kind of funny. Like it's a little cheeky.
Yes.
I mean, you got the skull eyes in the background.
I did not just fucking notice that.
Like the over the top cemetery.
I just noticed that. That's a skull.
And the little spider webs down there on the corners, and the way she's kind of like with her little candle.
The spider webs.
It's like it's this.
The spider webs do.
It's heavy but funny.
That's the wink. The spider webs.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
dude. Look the way those spider webs are drawn in there. Like it's fun. Everyone's having fun.
Yeah.
Something terrible is gonna happen to this poor girl, but
she's still alive in real life.
We're having fun.
I mean, this is like, we didn't actually sacrifice her, guys.
Well, I hope not. I hope that didn't happen. There's some, I don't know, man. This music, some of these bands, they go into some fucking dark places. But all right, so are you?
Yes. So all right,
you ready to see this next shit? You think that's dirty, dude?
All right. So let's. Okay. So we're progressing.
Okay. So thank you, Fulanno, for keeping the conversation going.
Because
we're forgetting us to go to this direction.
You're not getting replaced. You're just gonna meet your peer.
Check this out. Check out this. So this is Las Historias. That the band, that name means the stories. So I got a story for you, Checkhorn. Check that out.
I mean, look. This, if you are what? I'm 17 years old.
You see that,
and I see that. I'm like, what is this?
What's going on?
Yeah, and I have a record player. I know how to use it.
Yeah.
And I see this album cover. I either go instantly, like, if you have an instant buy list, you know, as a 17-year-old, you're like, I got 3 records I can buy.
Yeah.
So you probably already know what one of them is. And then you see this, you go like, oh, this is the other one that I'm going to get.
Don't let your mom find that, though, kid, because that's... So I have a few copies of this for sale, and I have it in the booth when I do the flea market things.
What reaction do you get from
people, man, oh, my God. There have been a whole lot of people in our general metropolitan area that have dug through the crates and come across this, and they all pull it out.
Look at it.
And then they show it to their wife or their... Oh, my God, honey, look! Look at that. And it's, you know... Because, I mean...
Because they have to tell somebody.
Oh, yeah.
When they see that for the first time.
You have to. A couple of covers from now, something similar happens.
Sure.
It's just going to keep going. I mean, there's nothing but dirty-ass covers and doom rock.
Okay, well, I'll put this one up.
Okay,
yeah.
All right. Well, we should spin this.
Let's spin it. Yeah.
So Los Historias, they're this badass power trio.
And what's the name of this track?
The name of this track, we're going to play Frankenstein. This shit is fucking dope. I love this band. Argentina and power trio. They've got a lot of great records. Psychedelic, kind of a real cream vibe.
Okay.
But still have kind of this aggressive Sabbath
core.
Yeah,
like you said before.
Yeah,
they found the core, and
they got this aggressive Sabbath worship going on in their tone too. But it's still got this like a lot of a old Clapton kind of vibe going on with these solos.
Well, it's gonna assume this wave of wong 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 wong.
Right.
You know.
Oh,
just like we're hypnotic. We're hypnotic here.
The tone we hear on this dude's guitar is gonna absolutely match what is happening in this photo. It is. All right. Well, you ready to spin it, dude?
Let's do it.
Okay. Let's
Frankenstein.
go. Yeah, here it is. Las Historias, Frankenstein. Los Historias, man. What do you think of that shit, huh?
So
yeah.
So back to the
band
tone.
fucking rips. I love that band so much.
I thought you were being hyperbolic when you said his tone was going to sound like that.
Not at all. No, I was being quite literal.
You were not joking. And it was fucking...
Yeah, totally.
Don't you love it when a band's in sync with their pure aesthetic? They know what they sound like. They know what they look like. They know. Yeah.
That shit sounds like some weird psychedelic sex right there.
Yeah. And the cover is like, "This is who we are."
This is who we are, coming right out. Fucking love that band, dude. This band's fucking great. Every one of their album covers has got a little something going on, just like the Black Furs there. Oh yeah, every one of them has got a little wink.
It's almost like an arms race.
It's like a perverted arms race. Well, wait till we get to this fucking next band.
You're gonna top it. We're gonna top on that. We're gonna top.
About
you're doing this. Well,
not this next record, but the record after that.
Okay,
same band.
Sure.
2 records from the same band.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
So does it go back to, for those of you who watched the History of Doom episode, does it go back to, I think there's a quote in there where Paul McCartney was like, "Oh, the Who said they're gonna do what? Okay, we got you." And then it feels like this is continuing with the album covers.
Oh, Lost Stories. Just put that out. Wait till we fucking put out our record. We're gonna have. I don't know, man. Mephistofeles won that war, though. We'll get there. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but just to answer your question, sir, Mephistofeles.
So there was an arms race, and then they said nope. They ended it.
I think they fucking. You'll see. You'll see, man. You're a smart man. You're gonna see.
Yes.
You'll take a look at it, and I'll let you.
All right.
I'll let you call it. Okay. But straight up, a very perverted arms race going on with these fucking album covers. Like, who can get the nastiest? Like, black metal has their own thing. Like, who's got the goriest, like, most disgusting,
most brutal.
I got some fucking motherfuckers' brains blowing out on my shit.
Brutal.
And this one's got like guts off.
Yeah.
It's real and bloody and this is black metal as you can get. Doom is drugs and fucking. So. Who can make the most drugs fucking cover you can get?
I've heard drugs can lead to fucking.
I've heard that too.
The song itself, Frankenstein, right?
Yeah, that was Frankenstein.
So, this is one of the few tracks we've spun that is the guitar is out front on this one and kind of playing it solo.
Right, power trio.
The bass and drums are like, we're the rhythm section. We're keeping this groove.
Exactly, good point. This is exactly so. Yeah, the way this band, they're set up like a traditional rock and roll power trio. The guitar is right out front.
Yes.
He's going to play leads the whole time.
Yeah,
everyone else is backing him up. And it's not about like progression of chuggy riffs. It's like, just give me to that lead.
Yeah.
And then let me hit that for 15 minutes or so and then bring it back to the melody and
where everybody's in sync again.
Yeah. So that song is fucking great. So this is another one of these Argentine bands that fucking blew open the scene, you know.
Yeah.
They got like 4 or 5 records out. They've been on a couple of different labels doing these one-offs. This album right here has been pressed by, I think, 3 different labels have
we were
pressed
talking about
it.
the different versions of the cover
too. So the blues are going to be different, and the coloring in the letters is going to be a little bit different in the L and the H. The first press, so the press I have that was showing on the overhead, that color was a mistake.
Oh, okay.
They pressed, for whatever reason, they pressed like fucking 30 copies of that with the wrong color.
Yeah.
And then they corrected it to what it was supposed to be, which was more of like a way gray, smoky color kind of thing. This ended up looking kind of like light cream with a little blob in it.
Still looks good though. It matches with
great,
the center dot.
I just got it at random. Like I ordered the other one, the part of the first press, and this is
so they weren't 30.
They put this
together.
Out.
They were 30. They just
they got mixed in with the other color, and there were like 300 of those or something like that. And I just wound up with that one. I was like, wow, what the fuck is this? And then
well, how'd you know they were different?
I put a picture of it online, and someone was like, "Dude, you got the wrong color one. That's just like only 30 of those out there." I was like, "Whoa, that's fucking dope."
Yeah, that's cool.
Cool. So I have another color variant of like blue or something. I bought another batch of these to sell on the
website.
On the websites,
yeah.
I think I still have a couple of those. So that whole record is just great, start to finish.
Nice.
Every album this band has put out has just been solid. They're just fun to listen to. They're all tripped out like that with these great licks, and it all kind of goes back to that kind of heavy, dark blues, Sabbath worship. Cream, Blue Cheer, it's all there.
Well, it's interesting.
And
that's why I brought that question up on the last album, on the last track. It's like, all right, I hear it, and then you're like, no, dude, it's real. And then we play this next one. It's like, here it is, another example, which is like, hey, go for it. Like if that's what the audience responds to, and that's what they want to hear, fucking give it to them. Like, I'm cool. Like, we're good. Just fucking, we'll play it. And you love them already. You love that sound. You've already enveloped it into your identity as a band. Yeah. So go for it. Yeah.
It's a take on it's very cliche, a modern take on an old classic or something like that.
Yeah.
Where, you're taking what has influenced you as a player. It's always with heavy metal. I think a lot of these guys going to go back to what originated the style.
Right.
It always kind of goes back to that, and you went, oh, what is this stuff happening in the late '60s that was so crazy that was making this sound, and that eventually rolled down to where we are now.
And a lot more vocals on this one.
Yeah, a little bit, which is kind of funny because not all their tracks are like that. A lot of them are instrumental.
Right.
I'd say about half and half.
Right.
So if he's not singing, he's ripping a lead, right? Which is something that Blue Cheer would do, or Cream.
Yeah.
Kind of going back to something like that. But it's not so like heavy, chunky riff. It's taking some of those other elements.
For the few songs that I've written that were only 2 minutes long anyway, it's like I found myself, where can I jam in a line? I need to, but it was punk rock for mostly. So yeah, you don't have a lot of time. You got to get it in as much as you can.
Well, with Doom, you can take your time.
Exactly.
You can take 20, 30 minutes. And
that's what I'm saying. That's why I would love to get in the mindset or, get inside these guys' head when they're writing this song.
Drugs.
They're like, yeah, I don't need to sing for 10 minutes.
That's right.
And I'm cool with that.
Nope, you can express yourself going.
It's like, let the instrument speak for a while, and then I'll come back later.
Yeah. That's cool. You're picking up on that, man. I think we're seeing that pattern in a lot of these songs. Is that they let a lot of they'll spend a lot of time letting the guitar doing the expressing.
Yes. Yeah.
Not so much just like the on the nose lyrical content.
Right.
But they're letting the instruments do a lot of the speaking, a lot of the.
Well, it's funny because you say
bleeding.
A lot of Sabbath is the tree, right? So punk rock is just taking that time out.
Right.
Taking that extra time to let the instruments do that and taking that time out, compressing it. And like, we're going to get all the emotional stuff in. We're going to get all the technical, proficiency of the sound in because we're going to be tight and we're going to have some fucking complicated riffs.
Yeah.
Then they're going to be heavy, but they're just not going to take their time.
Yeah. They're not going to take 10 minutes to do it. No. They're going to do it in 2.5.
Yeah. And we're gonna play 30 of them.
Right.
Instead of 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, but that's the tree. That's where it comes from. Because if you don't have these guys doing Sabbath or a number of Cream, none of these guys doing it,
right,
you never get into that.
No.
Because it's just cutting stuff. It's very efficient punk rock. It's probably it's the result of technology, and being like, oh, wait a minute, I just turn a dial to get the heavy fuzz, not set up tube amp after tube amp.
No, just set up your cheap, Sears amp and crank it up as loud as it'll go, and hey, there it is. There's a nasty sound.
Yeah.
Make that shit your own.
So that's what when I'm listening to this, that's what I hear. I hear all the sound. I hear all the rest of the music. thinking about it in the context
there
of
you go.
where the rest of Doom has come from. And now knowing this new thing about Sabbath worship, and I didn't know that term.
Oh,
but
yes.
it makes sense.
It's a whole thing. There are hats with Sabbath worship.
Really?
Oh, yeah, little patches you can buy. It's a whole thing.
So and you hear it here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's welcomed. It's like, yep, I know where this tree rooted from.
Yeah.
So they have no problem with it. And that's I find that amazing. I find that absolutely amazing. Because there is a lot of there's a lot of there's a lot of gatekeeping and a lot of music, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
And
totally.
And, you know, the style that I grew up listening to, alternative hardcore punk.
Punk, there's a lot of gatekeeping.
You have
punk,
to.
right?
It's self-regulated.
Yeah.
Which is fair. Which is like,
okay.
I never took the second to think about it. It's like, all right, why is it self-regulated? Why is this thing like, oh, not punk enough?
Yeah.
You know,
to keep the fucking cops out, right?
Well, yeah. I'm pretty sure that was at least to try to keep them out.
I've always found punk is interesting, but a lot of punk can be kind of a contradiction. You know, the idea that something has to be XYZ to be punk.
Yes.
Punk, you know, meaning, you know, outstanding, bright.
Yeah.
Very different. And how punk rock emerged, kind of knowing all of that stuff, how could you ever say punk must be
exactly
these very strict set of rules, or else we won't let you in?
Right.
So
that's why I say it's self-regulated.
Yeah.
And you know what? For a short amount of for a time, I was that way. And it was just like,
we were talking about that earlier. When you're in middle school and in high school, it's like they must follow the fucking rules. This shit must be.
Yeah.
But you know, we're grown-ups now. We don't have to worry about that.
It seems weird looking back on it.
Looking back, like why would you ever? Well, because when you're young, you want things to be organized and structured and make simple sense.
So you can figure things until you figure things out.
Until you figure out how complex and fucked up everything is.
Yes. Yeah.
And you're like, oh, shit can be kind of a mess.
Right.
You know,
it's hard. It's harder going from the complex to the small. You know, it's just like, all right, let's start small.
Yeah, and then work your way out.
Yeah, work your way out.
Yeah.
And the reason I bring all that up is because this genre, doom metal in general, they kind of let that shit go. They're like, we won't. You know, I'll do a 7-minute solo, or we'll let the bass be the lead. The bass is actually the lead guitar. You know, or all kinds of shit. It could be. They still have their structures, the things that they all have in common.
Yeah.
But it's not. I don't know. Maybe you can
it's
tell
not
me.
so. It's not so strict.
Exactly.
You know, it's really not. That's what I enjoy about it. One of the many things, despite just the sick riffs, the nasty riffs. I love that. But that there's a wide interpretation of the sound and a wide. Such a variety in the creative approach to how people play this music. Some of it's really heavy and dark and evil and full of rage, and then some of it's really funny and lofty and kind of trying to rib you a little bit. It doesn't have to be any one thing. It's just a few general qualifications that heavy riffs, psychedelic kind of sound overall, and it
kind of works outside.
Groovy.
It works. How am I going to say this? It works outside in instead of inside out, right?
Okay.
Because like the punk rockers are inside, going like, "All right, do you want to get in here? You got to be this."
Yeah. Okay.
Doom is like, it's like, "Hey, this is what we do," and they go, and you're like, "All right, you're one of us." They come and grab you. They're like, "Yeah, I know punk does that too," but that seems like the overarching fucking approach is like this. It's when you hit these, if you're doing these things, and you're sounding this way,
hey,
welcome to the table.
That's a good point. There's a big kind of funny and kind of serious discussion long-running discussion in the Doom fan community about what is Doom and does something Doom or not.
Yeah.
Doom being like an action word, right?
Right.
Is something this thing?
Yeah.
Does a movie doom in the way that Black Sabbath dooms?
Right.
Does this amplifier setup, does it doom?
Yeah.
Does this pedal doom, that kind of thing?
Right.
And it's kind of funny because there's so many correct answers. A goat smoking weed, that fucking dooms. An astronaut like floating in space, dead for 10,000 years.
Yeah.
That fucking dooms too.
Yeah.
Some weird mushroom trip in the desert. That fucking dooms.
Qualifies.
Yeah, that qualifies as being pretty doomed.
Yeah.
And are there fucking riffs and solos happening the whole time?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Then it will.
Sounds like there was a more open conversation about it.
It is. It's kind of cool. I've enjoyed reading everybody's different responses to that question.
Right.
So sometimes it's annoying, like any discussion, when someone posts like a picture of, I don't know, some dumb shit. Does it fucking doom? I don't fucking fuck off. I don't want to.
They do it in bad. They do it in bad faith.
It's in bad fucking faith.
Yeah.
Check horn. I don't. Whatever. I don't want to complain, but just mentioning that. But I enjoy that discussion. There's a lot of interesting correct answers to that question.
Right.
And it's fun, and it can be open and cast a wide net as long as it's got this, as long as it has that something.
Right.
As long as it has that little thing that we agree on, that this is part of it.
Right.
And it can be a little spacey, or it can be kind of hell inspired, or it could be,
or it could be, you could be a leading on the Led Zeppelin side.
That's right. Yeah, it could be more. Right. Yeah, all of that.
If you don't Sabbath worship, you're still good.
Yeah, you're still good. It's like, it's there.
Yeah.
It's that's what I dig about the doom. The doom community.
Right.
There's your hardcore. This is doom. It's Sabbath worship. It's and there's just all this stuff that kind of splinters off of that, and everybody seems to say fuck it and get along.
Yeah.
Like the same people that listen to really heavy dark shit. They love Caius, which is desert rock, mushroom trip kind of shit.
Right.
So you've got that range there, and it's cool. And maybe a band like Lost Historias kind of reminds us is that that it isn't one thing.
Sure.
It's a lot of different things that could come together. Their shit's all about drugs and sex. They're not really about like haunted castles or anything like that.
Right.
Well, this record's not. I guess they've got another cover that's kind of like, it's got a coffin and stuff on it, But I don't know. Whatever. We can.
Hey, did you notice?
We could. What
did you notice?
Pointing out there.
High heels.
She got heels on.
High heels
and sunglasses.
And if you were watching earlier the episode, heels.
I hope it's
made
not
a prominent.
I hope it's not the same girl.
No, it's not. There's no way it could be the same girl. But they're both wearing high heels.
Same dirty magazine that these kids are
looking. Same magazine, absolutely. Same magazine.
Getting passed around down there, man. That's fucked up.
All right. So what are we spinning next? What do we got next?
Okay. So here we're moving into Mephistofeles.
Okay.
So Mephistofeles is a band from Argentina, big in the scene and of some notoriety.
Mm.
So they kind of came into play. We mentioned them earlier when
we were talking about playing.
Yeah, when Just from Electric Wizard put out a top 10 list one year, top 10 albums, top 10 bands to check out, something like that. And Mephistofeles was on there, I think. And everyone started checking them out. Aesthetically, they're known for very shocking covers. A lot like this. This is very... Maybe this is something going on in Argentina. It's they love putting naked chicks and horror movie references and these kinds of things on their album covers. So Mephistofeles is no stranger to that.
And they pushed it.
They pushed it a little bit. Often with Mephistofeles, you'll see a lot of 70s schlock references.
Yeah. That whole era of like everything seedy, baby.
Yeah, terrible B movies where they would reference everything horrible in the world.
Yeah.
So you had a lot of like Nazi bullshit, like Nazi werewolf women of the SS, kind of shit.
Yeah, it was an actual movie.
70s movies coming out. in these schlock B movies. And a lot of that stuff has worked its way into the Doom aesthetic.
Yeah.
That 70s counterculture stuff.
Well, I mean, look at the sunglasses she's wearing.
Same thing, yeah. Okay, so we get a lot of pornography from the era.
Yeah.
And a lot of horror films from the era and a lot of exploitation stuff, all from this era, kind of late 60s, 70s, that these bands like to reference a lot.
Sure.
So within that often comes a lot of Nazi imagery.
Yeah.
Electric Wizard has kind of crossed into this area aesthetically
Recently?
few times.
Oh, a few times.
Yeah, a few times.
Over there, okay.
Throughout their career,
right.
Electric Wizard has. And it's Mephistofeles does as well.
Right.
We'll kind of cross into that. So I think it's used ironically as a reference to this kind of period of time.
Which is going to be hard to justify sometimes.
But fucking it being what it is, a lot of people will see that and they'll be, you've got, an iron cross or a swastika or something like that showing on somewhere within your Doom collage here. And that's something that we can talk about right there is like the use of that imagery in heavy metal. Does that mean that the band is necessarily National Socialist?
Yeah,
probably
what
not.
What are they using it for?
Yeah, how is the gesture intended? And then again, how is it received? We meant it as a joke. Would it piss everybody off?
Yeah. What are you gonna? You knew what it was gonna do.
Yeah, you can also say, well, you guys are being, pretty sensitive about something that was clearly intended to be ironic. So,
yeah.
Unfortunately, with Mephistofeles, that is a discussion that is coupled right there with
the band themselves,
with the fucking band, with the guitar riff, and these guys. That they've made some smart ass comments in social media circles. They said some dumb shit.
Yeah. And
it got amplified, and connected to them. So when people are like, "So what's up with Mephistofeles? Tell me about that band." This stuff comes up.
Yeah.
That they use a lot of kind of.
They're problematic.
Yeah. They could be visually a problematic band. However, you can't discuss South American stoner rock and doom metal without talking about fucking Mephistopheles because they're a powerhouse in that realm. They're really important in the scene.
Well.
They fucking doom like a motherfucker, and they're a really good band. It's great music, and I don't find anything political, or racist,
right,
or anti-Semitic about their music. It's about drugs, Satan, and fucking. That's it. That's what their songs are about. That's it.
Other than that,
yeah. No, so I'm not a Mephistopheles apologist or some,
sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, but you're real with it,
right?
Hey, these guys fucking rock.
They're a good band. I don't believe they're Nazis, but it is not uncommon to see them use Nazi iconography in their aesthetics because they think they're being little fucking shits and little edgelords and little trolls because they think it's funny and cool to piss everybody off. Heavy metal.
Which is everyone's been to high school.
Yeah,
it's a real thing.
It's a thing, right? Like heavy metal and rock and roll and punk rock.
For all you people who've ever been on Reddit, 4chan, any of these chans, what the fuck? Yes, that's out there. It's just fucking people just do this shit sometimes.
Yeah, it's dumb. So I didn't want anyone to think that Mr. Checkhorn and myself are Nazi apologists spreading that hate.
I don't believe in shit anyway.
We don't do that here at Things From Beyond. We don't believe in anything
other than what you're listening to.
Other than like, human expression and creativity and sick riffs.
Make it easy. Keep it simple.
Yeah, keep it simple, right?
I ain't got time to hate anybody.
I didn't want anybody thinking that we were spreading hateful ideology here on
We're going to show it,
podcast. But we're going to show some nasty stuff. We're going to show you some fucking dirty shit.
This episode's going to get age restricted.
Well, yeah.
We're learning about YouTube, by the way.
Yeah, Things From Beyond is rated R.
Yeah.
Rated X.
Well,
actually, if we look at the insert, of what's coming up here in a record or two, this might be rated X.
Yeah.
Maybe triple X even.
What can you? Well, we're about to learn what you can show and not show on YouTube.
All right, so
right.
We're gonna play one song from this record. This is Mephistofeles. So, in one, you see that little swirl.
The Supero Stereo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
SS.
Super Stereo. Super Stereo.
SS.
Oh boy.
What does that little swirl look like?
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Once you get to the middle of it, yeah.
You'll see that a lot. You'll see these little.
I'll put it up there in a second. Okay.
It's probably not allowed on YouTube, but so look, it came with this sticker. Check it out.
Oh no.
Yeah, straight up. Little SS sticker. Super Stereo SS. So they'll fucking do that, man. Oh, and there was a thing about, like, they put, here on the spine, they put parentheses around the word I'm heroin. Apparently that means anti-Jewish sentiment. The 3 parentheses around the thing, that's a thing. Okay. It has something to do with a podcast would make jokes about Jewish people, and they would echo the names of Jewish people. And then when they would type it into the chat, they would put the little parentheses on it. There it is right there. Yeah, something like that. So it's supposed to, sound like it's reverberating. So now people will say, oh, they put I'm Heroin, the name of the record, in these parentheses. So that makes us think that they're evil Nazis. They're not. They're just fucking kids that are idiots.
Okay, all right.
They're young. They're in their 20s now. They're not.
Sense.
They're not grown men of.
They're not trying to read.
So look down there at the lower right on that. It's got the SS there. Yeah, so apparently, like, they wouldn't press this with that graphic.
Oh, I can imagine.
Here, so they put that on there instead, and then included the sticker.
It is different. Yeah, it's different.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but they could get away with that, but not the SS.
Yeah.
Okay, we're back. We're back. Yeah, man. So Mephistofeles, huh? What'd you think?
I can see why they're so influential in the scene.
Okay.
I didn't realize how young they were. You know, when you told me.
Yeah, they're young guys.
Yeah. Oh.
This was recorded several years ago.
Right.
I think years is from 20. I think this is from 2016. So this is 9 years or so ago. Okay. When they recorded this, they were, in their early 20s. So they're mid now. but this is a fucking great record. It's been repressed a few times. It's got a different cover now with the new label, Helter Skelter Productions.
Right.
But just a great fucking power trio from Argentina. Got that Sabbath worship, Electric Wizard worship going on there.
Yeah, you can hear it.
I played you that song, man, because I think that track kind of really reflects their overall kind of stylistic approach to
it's their mission
rock and roll.
statement. Yeah, what they're gonna do.
Yeah, I think that song really, really kind of encapsulates all that.
Nice.
Their whole style. At least at that time, so it's kind of changes. They've changed their lineup now, so they've got a different drummer,
which will affect everything.
Yeah, it's gonna kind of change things. Yeah. But and now they're going for kind of a heavier, dirtier sound.
Okay.
So we're gonna play this next track on this next record.
Right.
And you're gonna hear a lot of the same approach. We got the timer. Yeah, you're going to hear a lot of the same approach. You're going to hear a lot of the same style, but kind of a dirtier aesthetic.
You said earlier that you couldn't talk about this scene without this band.
Absolutely not. Yeah, you can't talk about
it clearly not
South American stoner doom without talking about Mephistofeles.
What is it? I mean, I'm trying to gauge. Like, is it just the fact? It's not. Well, it's a little bit of longevity because they've been doing it for a long time.
They've got several records out. Yeah,
but the songs are fucking heavy. That's what that fucking crowd is looking for. They deliver it in spades, and so I'm just trying to figure out what. Well. The controversy that they generate too, probably,
and that all that with the musicianship, they're a good band.
Yeah,
guy can play that guitar.
Yeah,
and the rhythm section knows how to stay in the pocket and back them up.
Right,
and it all really works well together. They play really well together. They're a good fucking band.
Yeah, it's right. And then that's all it takes sometimes.
Yeah, they're just it just sounds good. They're a good band. They got good fucking songs.
Yeah.
And if you're into this style, and if you don't mind the controversy,
sure.
You don't care about that, then this is
and you're just ready to spin a record from your favorite band.
Yeah.
They give you that.
Yeah. So kind of getting on to their next record here. Okay, so told you about covers.
Okay, so now everyone. Just be prepared. I think I saw this one earlier, and I was like, okay,
take a look at that.
Yeah. This is on the you sell this on the website too, right?
Yeah. I think I still have some copies for sale of this one. Yeah, so this is something I've tried to keep in stock since they started pressing it. It's a fucking great record, but goddamn, that's a nasty cover. And then check out the insert.
Oh well, it's basically your favorite magazines from when you were growing up.
I don't know, man. Those are a little nastier than the.
Well, I mean, they look pretty simple to me. The weird part is these random these photos of the band guys.
Like,
these random
mixed in there.
Yeah.
The fucking raunchy photos,
and of course them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, hey, if I don't know, if the band that I was in when growing up in high school, if someone had said you could do this if you wanted to. We probably would have been like, yeah, let's do that. That's funny. That'll be funny. And I don't know. I would fucking buy it. Yeah. Well, anyway.
I mean, edgy.
It's exactly
as edgy as you can get. This is some raunchy ass porn. Those,
It's for teenage boys.
Gotta get a good shot of that, man. That is some nasty stuff.
Well, no, we can't show that on YouTube, man. You can't show porn on YouTube. We're gonna cut all.
Well,
this.
it's for educational purposes. We'll blur it out or something.
Yeah, we're probably gonna have to.
This is some serious stuff going on here.
Well, it's a porn magazine. It's basically a porn magazine.
The band's picture.
Okay, so that's where the tongue in cheek comes in. If they don't include their photos, then it's something else.
Yeah, right. It's just straight
you know what I'm saying?
Porn,
yeah.
But they put their pictures like all scattered about, and you're like,
exactly.
Okay.
So that tells you right there. This is premeditated.
Yeah. These guys are fucking
clearly
smart
premeditated,
asses.
and it's just like, hey, look what we did here. You see what we did here? We put our pictures in.
Yeah.
In the collage.
And it came with stickers and this little poster, and I think it's got a big poster it came with. Let me see. No, just the dirty insert here.
Well, and then the cross is in the middle too.
Oh yeah,
of course. Gotta have your sex with your religion.
Yeah, so that's the whole thing. Satan sex ceremonies is the name of this record.
Well, okay, now this insert makes even more sense.
There you go. Like this is all some kind of evil ritual where everyone's just getting it on.
They're still shots from the Satan sex ceremonies.
That's right. I think that's what that represents.
Yeah.
That must have been a wild party because
it's various ceremonies, man. It's ceremonies. So there's
like they did a lot of them to get the coverage they got here. I mean, we got nuns. We got several chicks together.
I mean, if you're
one girl, two dudes.
Shout out to all the nuns watching the show. But when they first said, "Hey nuns, you're wearing this," the next thought should have been, "Oh shit, what's gonna happen when they get fucked in one of these?"
Some fucking perv is it's gonna get a hold of that,
and it probably happened. It's just like it's part of it. It's not. It eventually became unsacred enough to where it could be touched, where it's like, okay, 60 years ago we wouldn't do this, but 2025 we're well shit. 1970 we're probably doing this.
Oh, straight up, yeah. I mean, so occult imagery and dirty schlock porn is nothing new to rock and roll and heavy metal.
Yeah,
straight up.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we were saying is that a lot of these bands today are throwing back or calling back to that aesthetic.
Because they're like, look, man,
just doing their own.
Be
thing
glad
with
you weren't around in '73. You think this is bad? We're just throwing, like you said, we're throwing back to this.
Yeah.
This didn't come from out of nowhere.
Yeah, this is a cheeky callback, but to actually, try to fucking, live in that area, live that life. I don't know, man.
That's all you can do. That era doesn't exist anymore.
No, it's
so all you can do is just like, hey, remember?
Yeah, right.
These are member berries of porn. Porn member berries.
So this track we're gonna play is called "Syringe."
All right, let's do it.
All right, Mephistofeles, Satan's sex ceremonies, "Syringe." Here we go.
So, all right, these guys rock. They fucking take no. This is take no prisoners. You know, this is like we are unforgiving. What is this 6.66? I know what that is.
Yeah.
That's not the RPMs, right?
No, I think it was.
It's just 6.66.
I think it's supposed to be the price, maybe.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
Price,
it looks like the price.
A price joke.
Yeah.
It costs a lot more than that. Fucking vinyl's expensive, so.
So yeah. Oh, okay. Even the sticker is titties. So I get it. Yeah, they are just like, we don't give a fuck.
No.
We're going to put.
I don't think Mephistofeles cares about social norms and accepted practices.
They have put those aside.
Yeah.
They're like, all right, this is not what we do with this project. No. We don't do social norms.
No. Maybe they're nice, polite people when you meet them in person.
Sure,
but
sure.
When it's rock and roll time,
we have Satan ceremonies. Yeah.
So yeah, very doom. Everything we just heard there.
So once again,
it's got this kind of
guitar heavy.
Yeah, guitar heavy.
It leaning on the Zeppelin side.
Yeah. Well, I think it's got more of like a heavy, like a Sabbath, Masters of Reality or Volume 4 kind of take. But then again, you kind of add. They got a little bit of an organ in there.
Yes,
just for a bit.
That does stand out.
And then they stop, and it's like they're jamming on a mandolin or something for a bit there.
I think it's just a guitar with no effects.
Just, I don't know. It sounds like it's got kind of a.
It sounds like he plays the solo clean, like not even. He plays the solo without even.
Right. Yeah. It's clean, but I don't think that's an electric guitar that he's playing on.
You think it's another type of? I think
it's like a
smaller.
And I don't think it's an acoustic. I think it's something like a mandolin or something.
Yeah.
It's got because it's got that high sound, but that's just really cool that they throw that in there. In the middle of this fucking heavy, nasty fucking riff, they just fucking break it down like that for a bit.
They space out a little bit.
Really cool.
They get a little trippy.
Yeah, the musicianship of this band is up there. You know, these guys can really fucking play, and it's really impressive.
Oh well, once again, the no fear approach of just like just do whatever. Let's just try something out. Because who knows how do you. Because I'm sure they don't walk into the studio that day and like, hey, we got this idea to do a ukulele or a mandolin here. You know, maybe they were just trying it out. They're like, what about something needs to go here? Or maybe they did have the idea, you know?
I have no idea.
I know.
Whatever.
It didn't get shut down.
It fucking worked. Yeah. It's really cool.
The producer didn't go, no, we're not doing that.
No.
This is a 2.5-minute song. You know, it's like you have to fit these boxes. You know, no, they're just like, okay, let's give it a try.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole record's like that. There's a lot of kind of, I don't know, experimentation, some improv, just a really interesting take on the whole thing. That Sabbath chorus there.
Yeah.
You got that massive sound. You got those dirty
so I
riffs.
misspoke earlier. This does not. So you say this wouldn't lean towards the Zeppelin side of the house?
Well, maybe some of it.
A little bit.
Some of it does, but I think at its core, it's got that dark, heavier approach to the blues rock that all these bands were doing.
Okay.
You know, that formed this whole thing.
Gotcha.
I think it's got more of a Sabbath vibe to it than Zeppelin. But with the experimentation, the improv, and bringing in the other instruments, that's a Zeppelin kind of thing.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
And these guys definitely dig on Led Zeppelin for sure. You can hear that influence. So they're not just worshiping Sabbath. They're worshiping a whole lot of classic rock, heavy metal.
And obviously, so they've got
some Photoshop skills for sure.
Yeah, we've got the clear. I mean, you can't see the full. You can see it here. Let's get you a little closer look at it.
That snake looks like it's added to cover up.
Of course.
Yeah, that snake is that. And so are the drippings there. I think those are added too.
Yeah, you can definitely see it on the tongue of the snake.
Yeah,
where it's just like, that wasn't originally that.
But
there she's got some stuff on her face.
It's still like it's really effective though as a fucking
heavy
metal album cover. It's fucking nasty as fuck, just like the record is. You know, it's.
I mean, it says. Does it say it up there too? Yeah, it says adults only.
Yeah, adults only.
Warning, porn inside.
Yeah, it is not for...
Not inside, outside too, guys.
Well, that's the censored... That's the clean version compared to the nasty surprise you got waiting for you when you look at the insert.
Yeah. Which we showed you earlier.
Yeah. we might have to blur that whole thing out, man. I don't know.
Maybe.
Or click the not safe for work tab, or however you do it.
It's age restricted.
Okay.
This is going to be age restricted.
Be sure to set that tab when we upload this, that this is age restricted. Thanks to Mephistofeles being pervy and edgy. I mean, if it's not swastikas, it's fucking, whatever the hell's going on there.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's still in the norm, though. That's still in the vein.
Oh, that's within the accepted range.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Well,
that
the
Overton
next one,
window
though,
of doom metal
is going to be where it gets outside of that a little bit, where we get back. Are we gonna?
No, so not quite. If we're gonna go in alphabetical order, we're gonna.
Okay, so
we're gonna hit another band.
Okay,
and then we're gonna come back. But this next one that we're gonna play, the guy that plays and sings guitar, his name's Gabriel.
Yeah,
he plays and sings guitar in Mephistofeles. In this other band called Sahara, he plays the bass.
Okay.
So, good story about this band. Well, tragic story. You'll see it says Sahara 3.
Yeah.
So Sahara 1 was a cassette, and Sahara 2 is another album. But Sahara 1 and Sahara 2 was recorded with 3 guys, 2 of which died in a car wreck.
Oh, shit.
Before they
released 2?
Before this record.
Before 3.
After 2, before 3.
Yeah.
So the surviving member, the singer and guitar player, he wasn't sure if he wanted to continue the project or what he wanted to do with it. He had lost his bandmates like that tragically,
sure,
right?
Yeah, in one fell swoop.
Just like that.
Yeah.
And the first 2 Sahara records are kind of like that Fulanno that we heard, kind of long, heavy, real trippy, more of an old school Electric Wizard kind of vibe. But the story goes that the singer of this band had a long conversation with his friend Gabriel in this band.
Yeah. And
Gabriel convinced him to keep the project going. That he would come in on bass, but that they would kind of try a different sound.
Right.
So for Sahara 3, they moved away from this heavy space doom kind of thing, and they're doing more like a dirty garage rock metal kind of thing.
Okay.
So it's not really like heavy riffy doom, but it's got these dirty kind of stoner rock vibes to it.
Yeah.
And because it's connected to Mephistofeles in that way, and because
of the bass player,
and because of the their first 2 albums being more doom metal that you would think of.
Right.
Sahara and they're Argentinian. Sahara is absolutely part of this world.
Okay.
Part of this realm of discussion that we're having.
So what's the name of this thing? Okay, what's going to be the name of this Sahara track?
You would ask me that.
I mean, we got to tell the people the name of the track because they're going to want to see it. They're going to want to find it.
So we're going to play the first track on side A.
Yeah.
It's called Hell on Earth.
I could have just guessed that, actually. As like, if you would have said guess, I probably would have said Hell on Earth. And
this is on Regain Records. This label is out of Europe, and they put out Mephistofeles and a lot of. They put out a lot of stuff, but they put out a lot of South American doom metal and death metal and black metal. Regain and their affiliated brands put out a lot of great stuff.
Nice.
So they're definitely a label to check out if you're into this weird, perverted heavy metal, Satan rock that we're fucking propagating
here. It's got all the right members. It's got all the right pieces.
Yeah. Definitely check out what Regain's got going on.
All right, let's check it out.
All right,
let's hear it.
Yeah, here's Sahara, Hell on Earth. So yeah, Sahara, man, hell on earth. What'd you think?
That it's weird because that bass, it's probably one of the best mixed mastered records we've heard so far.
Yeah.
That bass is driving everything, but the guitar is like, I'm here too. But it's at its own. It's not louder than the bass, but it's it's just as heavy as the bass. But the bass does not blend in with the guitar at all. I mean it does, but it's like the sounds are. I don't know if they have them split left and right, but they both stand on their own, and they both fucking are driving the shit out of that song.
Yeah, that bass was really clear.
Yes.
And had its own kind of distinct thing going on. It was really cool. Yeah, it's a really good mix.
It is a really good mix
for something that's supposed to sound dirty, right? For some dirty ass garage rock,
right?
You know, heavy edge, some doom tinged garage. There, sounds really good.
Yeah,
you know, for fucking noisy ass. You know, almost it's got kind of a punk edge to it. I think I hear that in it. You know,
that especially on with the guitar having so much treble in it.
Yeah,
it just cuts through, and treble and mids, and no bass in the guitar at all.
Right. Yeah,
because the bass is doing all the bass.
Yeah. It's really interesting how they did it and how it all mixes together.
Yeah,
like that.
No, it's kind of heavy. I like the more treble bass tone on the guitar, or treble bass. The more treble highs, high end guitar instead of the guitar a little bit more muddy.
Okay.
And with bass in it, because that's where your bass player is supposed to fill that space. But I get it. Sometimes the bass player wants to be a little bit more in the background with the drums, but then you can. It's all up to the band, of course. But I noticed that. I mean, that's why this song stood out to me more, because that guitar was off on its own, kind of in its own space.
Yeah.
Like what we were saying with the mastering, there's room for the different instruments to be in separate areas of the spatial part of the song, especially when you listen to it in headphones.
Yeah. Headphones really kind of, I don't know, something about sitting on your ears,
the over the
shooting
ear,
it
sure.
right into your head.
Yeah,
you hear things that you don't always hear on.
Exactly, when you're on
stereo.
speakers.
Yeah,
and you're just like walking around or something.
Yeah, but with the headphones, there's so much clarity there. So yeah, listening to vinyl on headphones is definitely the way to do it. You hear a lot of things that you just wouldn't hear otherwise.
Which I don't get to do. That's why that's why I enjoy doing this podcast. I don't get to, just sit down and listen to vinyl on headphones as often as I get to do here on the show.
Yeah, this is sort of our like deliberate meditation here.
Right.
We're going to sit here and listen to this fucking record, on headphones and get into it and talk about it.
Because I mean, like at the house, like if I were to, every time I put a record on, there's a few times where I do the headphones, but it's mostly I have my monitors and I just put it on and I continue on throughout the house, whatever I'm
doing other things. You're not just sitting there focusing on the music. So we're hearing these things.
There's a lot of things you wouldn't catch. Absolutely. Yeah.
So that's cool that you caught that that unique way that Sahara's mixed and how different that is to this other things that we've been hearing so
all day,
far, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I couldn't imagine how. I mean, they had obviously a good engineer, but it's like, where do you even get that idea from? It's like, how separate can we get them instead of mixing them? Because normally you want to blend them all together. They're like, no. I mean, clearly you can do left and right. And maybe that's all they did.
As you're saying, that guitar's got this cut on it.
Yeah.
And the bass is so smooth, but it's got this thick fill in it. And when they mix together, even though they're very separate, when the whole band is playing together, you're getting this one thing. So
credit
really
to whoever mixed it, mastered it.
Yeah.
If that was all them. It's been, like I said, the best mixed record or the best mastered record that we've listened to today, in my opinion. Yeah.
And I just think that's cool because they're trying so hard to sound nasty and actually sound really fucking good.
Like we said earlier, it's like it's the only place where you can work hard at not sounding as fucking hard as you work at it. It's the one thing, because like if you let's say you're playing sports, you work hard to be as perfect with whatever it is you're doing.
Right.
With this, you work hard to make it sound like it's not the perfect thing. I can be loose with it, but if I get sloppy with it, we're all on key with it or all on sync with it so much that you won't even notice unless you're wearing headphones. You're like, oh, I caught that. But yeah, it's cool. You can shoot for that being in music.
Yeah.
You know, you can go all the way technical. I'm like Kraftwerk and everything's synchronized and programmed to the exact millisecond.
Yeah.
Or we can get sloppy and loose with it, baby.
Yeah.
You know, we can jangle, but it's still gonna be on time. So yeah.
Yeah, like that song is that we just heard, Hell on Earth. That's really tight. Like all the changes and all the kind of strikes they all do together.
Yes.
While playing a riff on top of it. It's just really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool how they did that. So yeah, Sahara, they've got that kind of sad story about them, and the bass player that we're hearing there, that's the guy from Mephistofeles. That's
who
Gabriel.
Convinced him to continue it on after the death of the other two band members. Okay.
Yeah.
So he's just like, no. So did the style change as well?
It did. Yeah. So we kind of mentioned that before.
Yeah.
So they were more like Fulanno in that they're heavy, more Electric Wizard. Big riffs. Songs were really long. It was very Doom.
Yeah.
But their special take on it. It's really cool. It's really cool the way that they did it. It just wasn't like this. So this is just the guitar player, from that old project, from that old group.
From Sahara 2.
From Sahara 1 and 2. Yeah, he that's him singing and playing guitar now. So playing with a new band, I think they wanted to give it a new sound.
Yeah.
But keep the name and the idea.
Right.
So Sahara has got this kind of it's got this kind of interesting collage punk thing going, but in the Doom space.
Right.
So it's a real unique take on it, and having these 3 records and really the first one's a tape, and then the second 2 were actual like complete LPs. Sahara 3 here, so it's a really interesting spectrum that they cover with that, but out of tragedy.
Yeah.
But still being able to put something like this out, and it's still kind of tongue in cheek with the occult here, And
Sure. A full on Diablo on the cover.
Yeah.
I mean, but look,
so
let's be fair.
That's still there even after.
Let's be fair. That's the same. There's a popular game series called Diablo where that's the fucking basically the image of the main character on every game.
Yeah.
Of the enemy you have to defeat, but it's not like they're pulling an image that Diablo has millions of players that play that game, and it's called Diablo. So I mean, it's tongue in cheek. Everybody uses this iconography. Everybody uses these images. I mean, not everyone, but everyone's aware that it's like, hey, this is gonna get used. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying with that point.
I don't know either, man.
I guess I'm saying I'm not surprised. I'm not shocked by it, which is like the other covers have been shocking. This one's actually not so shocking.
Even though it's a big devil.
Yeah, which is
big snarling demon.
Which is like I don't know if it's sad or if it's just whatever. I'm old now, I guess, and then it doesn't bother me anymore.
Doesn't bother you anymore.
Yeah.
Well, I think after looking at all that Mephistofeles stuff with the porno and the devil,
and it's like, there's nothing
like can't even shock me anymore.
The
big
black
devil
fur cover is the one that just
we did kind of, and that was early in our stack here too, man. Kind of getting that going right on the 3rd record or so. It's a hell of a way to, still be in the first act of this. And you got that lady and the dog.
So all right, Sahara. Are they Argent to get away
Sahara.
from the dog?
Sahara,
this is
Argentina.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Sahara's from Argentina. Friends and colleagues with Mephistofeles, and dropped this great record.
One of the main reasons why the band is still going.
Yeah.
He convinced them to keep doing it.
So, speaking of Mephistofeles, or maybe not speaking of Mephistofeles, but let's just leave that name in the air, okay? Like the vape there.
Yeah.
Let it.
No.
So there's this mysterious band from somewhere in Argentina.
Okay.
Called Thule.
All right.
And they dropped this awesome fucking album.
Okay.
A few years ago. Restricted Records is the label. I think Golden Dawn Recordings out of South America was the first record company to press this and put it out.
All right. That's what we're listening to next.
That's what we're going to listen to next.
Okay.
They had some problems getting the record distributed and sold online.
Right.
Due to a particular icon
and that's
they
the
used on the album cover and
yeah.
on the front and the back. And let me break it out and show it to you.
Okay. So we thought we had hit the apex with the Black Fur album cover, but this is it.
Here we go.
So they couldn't get released because of the pentagram goat head.
No, because of the swastika in the middle of it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I see it now.
And there's a swastika on the back.
You might want to.
Yeah, I'll
let them get a good look. Actually, here, I'll put it up. I'll put it up on the big screen.
This record. So, Golden Dawn Recordings had a hard time getting it distributed and getting it sold because their website kept getting taken down because they were selling this record with the swastika on it. In regards to the swastika, it's often used fucking ironically in a reference to 70s occult like exploitation films and B movies.
The whole aesthetic
and
of this.
Nazis are easy bad guys, so it's easy to kind of like put a bunch of Nazis in your movie and
right.
And so a lot of those movies are very kind of endearing in their silliness.
Right. They
and
embrace it. They kind of wink at it.
Yeah. So if you're like a horror fan or a fan of those movies, as a lot of doom metalheads are,
sure.
The imagery of those films is often referenced.
Yeah.
Right. So,
I mean, what it looks like to me is like they're trying to stack evil on top of evil.
I know. So yeah, to the point where you've got if you know who the Nazis are and then you know what a pentagram is, what this pentagram is,
right?
The two things don't really work together,
right?
Yeah. So it's just trying to think of just like on the back here, they've got it on an upside down cross.
Sure.
Like it doesn't mean anything. It's just so using the fucking swastika, trying to be edgy.
Well, it's
right
when you're competing in a realm of who can be the loudest, the doomiest, the most satanic, the most you're gonna be like, all right, let's
fuck it. We're putting a fucking pentagram, a goat head, and a swastika.
Yes.
And then there's the two little devil hands down here at the bottom with the band name.
Oh yeah.
And then you turn it around and you got it's all.
Yeah, it's not like they're trying to. They're not going to be dragging people into the streets. They're not promoting dragging people into the streets and doing bad things to them.
Exactly right, man. Yeah, looking at this, I think it's fucking lame that they use a swastika.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I'm not worried about it.
Right.
They're not preaching that philosophy where we're supposed to like all wear brown shirts.
No.
And you and I probably couldn't hang out anymore.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly that. I think that's not what they're going for.
I don't think that's what they're going for. I think they're being, little edgelords.
They're like, this is
funny.
It's heavy. It's serious. It could end the universe if you listen to this record.
Yeah. So the record comes with this little story. It comes with this little printout, this little story, and recorded live on reel-to-reel tape, machine surrounded by coffins at the at the Castle Torts Mausoleum. When we say that it's the most cursed record ever, we mean it. It's underlined.
Yeah.
4 guys wandering in our local cemetery carrying amps and instruments. We broke into the mausoleum at noon through one of the upper roof windows and then cut open the chains of the front doors from inside of the building with a type of machete look-alike thing.
What? So they're saying they recorded this inside a mausoleum they broke into. And they recorded it on a reel-to-reel.
Yeah. We carried our equipment towards the center of the place. It smelled like shit in there. The stench was so putrid that we barely could open our eyes. We picked up some brass crosses, and they have little SS's for brass crosses.
Yeah.
Assholes. That were hanging from the walls, and turned them upside down to make the place even more evil than what already was. The doors started to slam themselves as the wind began to blow harder and harder, so we shut them up. There we were, trapped and surrounded by the dead. We felt really uneasy there, but we weren't just going to pussy out and quit recording. The most cursed record ever. We started.
It's the second time they said that.
We started. It's fucking cursed, man. Look at this shit. I don't even know if maybe we shouldn't have opened this up. Fucking
too late now, man.
Floor might crack open and we're gonna get sucked into hell. I'm sorry I did this to you, man.
By the SS.
Yeah.
The SS Luftwaffe will be down there.
Just as we're burning in hell for this, just know that I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. Well,
just all in the name of rock and roll.
I guess everybody watching too, you're
they're fucked.
Going by association.
This shit's gonna be like The Ring.
It goes through screens.
It does. This shit's gonna.
The curse goes through screens.
Most cursed record ever. We started to have a few drinks and smoking weed while we were waiting for midnight to arrive.
No, they didn't.
I'm reading it off the paper. It started to get colder and colder as we were figuring ourselves out about how did we end up in here recording an album. A thunderstorm started while we were getting ready to pick up the instruments and start the ritual.
Of course it did.
The rain started to enter through the roof window where we broke in. Very specific.
Actually sounds true.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. This
I know that. Why would come up with that detail?
This might be some Blair Witch kind of shit, you know. Where we'll get to the end. All right. And we were worried about ending the session before being electrocuted by our own guitars.
Yes.
It would have been cool, though, ending the most cursed record dying like that. Yeah.
That would have made it cursed. You need a sacrifice.
They fucking died making this record. Holy shit. Don't let anybody hear this. Anyway, no, I said that. That's not in here. We were too stoned to be scared, but something evil was there, expecting the whole show. While we were playing, we did not care at all. We played so loud that the flower pots fell from their pits.
Nice.
Leaving behind rotten flowers all over the floor.
So they just left they just left people's dead flowers that they put at their graves.
Yeah. Even the spiders hid from the massive brick wall of sound that we were creating there. We were there to disturb the peace of the dead at all costs. Man, we were tripping while recording the most cursed keyboards ever. And we heard the coffins knocking. We just woke up the dead, we thought. We were so confused that we barely understood what the fuck was going on there. So we just started smoking weed again.
Oh, shit. What a confession. Oh, wow. This is the like story behind this album.
The final confession of Thule before they got sucked into hell.
Yeah.
For doing this, for breaking into a mausoleum and playing stanky fucking doom. Okay, if you pay extreme attention into the recordings, you'll hear the voices of the ghost of the Castletort family haunting the production of this record during the sessions.
So they just picked a name off of one of the coffins.
The Castletorts. They were fucking with their shit.
Oh, maybe it was their family mausoleum.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, because you used to be able to do that.
Yeah, I think that's what they did.
I want all my family buried in this place.
They broke into the Castletorts, assholes.
Wow.
Okay, we barely finished recording and mixing everything. As the morning sun started to rise, we got the hell out of there before any authority showed up to ruin the fun. We reached our cars, but something was missing. We forgot the master reel inside the mausoleum.
Of course they did.
We headed back in to pick it up, and for our surprise, we found all the flower pots intact, back again in their own pits. Also, the inverted crosses reversed back to their normal position again.
Okay, all right. They had me until then.
We started to question ourselves if we were so stoned that maybe we just thought...
Did they imagine it?
We thought out. we started to question ourselves if we were so stoned that maybe we just thought out we recorded anything, and we were just imagining the whole scenario while tripping balls. Wouldn't be uncommon on us. Fuck this, and we escaped from that place with the only thought, man, we did it.
Okay, so do you believe that they actually recorded in a mausoleum?
Well, man, once we play this thing, you might
sound like
you might be a believer. We might very well be cursed from all.
So here's the thing. After listening to that, eternity. I believe they did that. Obviously, the crosses and the pots didn't happen. Sure, but like the thunders, they might have recorded in the mausoleum and just nothing happened. You know, they went in there, they broke in. There was no thunderstorm.
They were drunk and high.
They got stoned.
They vandalized the place.
All that happened.
And they recorded this fucking sick-ass album.
Yeah, and they might not have been there till sunup. Maybe they added that later.
Maybe they added it. And then they put a fucking swastika on it.
Yeah, they're because was there anything about economic justice?
No, there was nothing about reclaiming
the
motherland. I didn't catch any of that. There was nothing about answering big questions and what have you. I didn't catch any of that. No.
There was no proclamation of genetic superiority.
No. No, just a bunch of teenagers acting like assholes.
Yeah.
But it's a fucking dope record, and we're gonna listen to the first track. Okay?
All right, let's do it.
This is Our Task.
All right.
Okay, man. So Thule.
Back to. So wait, this is Mephistofeles Thule.
So okay, so
or is this Thule?
This is just Thule.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is Thule.
Right.
That was Our Task and Erica.
Okay.
The songs we listened to. So Mephistofeles, this is them. This is like, well, the rumor is this is their like side project.
Right. But it's unconfirmed.
Yeah,
no one really knows who's in this band.
No, like it's credited as Guts Fucker, guitars and vocals, Venomous
Okay.
on bass,
Yeah.
and Hellfire on drums.
Of course.
Yeah, so it's the rumor is it's Mephistopheles in disguise. So, but they mention, I think in their manifesto here, didn't they say? Maybe they didn't mention Argentina specifically.
Oh, okay.
But I think if you look up Castle Tort,
That's an Argentinian family.
I think so.
Yeah. So what the biggest thing I noticed, especially on the second song, is that the rhythm section didn't stay in the pocket as much. The bass soloed along with the guitar player at the same time.
Yeah.
He riffed on. He didn't play. He wasn't. The bass and the drums weren't hitting the same groove over and over.
Yeah.
The bass player was traveling, doing his thing, and it all fit together. It fit together perfectly. I mean, that's what you do when you're a good musician.
Well, it had kind of a jazz thing going on.
Okay.
Jazz blues, doom tinge kind of thing going. But like you said, man, these guys are really fucking good players.
That's what stood out the most.
They're really good musicians. It's a good fucking record.
Because it's like, well, okay, let me ask you this. Does it sound like the Mephistopheles guys?
Yeah, I think it does, yeah. If you listen to this whole thing,
yeah.
You know the little interlude there, the little
the organ interlude.
Yeah, if you you listen to this whole thing, you're gonna hear some more of those. They kind of match up to some
right.
Some other things that are on.
There's some fingerprints.
Yeah, there's some of the same markings.
Yeah.
And just if you listen to the records enough, the different bands, that there's a lot of similarities.
Yeah, because once you find that sound, you're going to use it as much as possible. It's hard to get away from it.
That's right, man. It sounds like the same type band on the other record that we just heard. It sounds like the same guy. But they deny it and everything, and it's a whole thing. So I'm not confirming anything. I don't know anything.
Right,
it's just I'm speculating wildly.
Okay. And we're using what evidence we have, which is the music.
That's right.
Yeah. So since they had such a hard time, since this is such a fucking, how did they get this done?
How did I get this? Okay, so the first pressing of this record was distributed by Golden Dawn Recordings, and they're in South America somewhere. And they put out limited pressing tapes and CDs and a couple of records. So they were having a hard time selling this because they would get the social media post up that here's the link, here's the sell, here's the record, here's the picture of it.
Right.
And as soon as they would get that up and people would log on and try and buy one, somebody would complain and it would get taken down. And I think finally he was able to get everybody to email him that wanted it.
Why
and
not
then
just,
he sent them a separate link, and that's how I got it. I think
private
I
link.
think that was this was like it says copyright 1976, but it actually copyright 2019.
Okay.
What they often do whenever they ship it around the world is they just put a piece of tape over the swastika.
Because even inside the packaging, they still put it on the
there'll be a piece of tape on it. Yeah.
There was a piece of tape on that one too?
No, this one, because in the U.S. it's not illegal to have a swastika
right,
on anything.
Right.
It's untoward. It's uncouth.
Yeah.
It's
we
vulgar
frown upon it.
and frowned upon.
Yeah. But you have the right to do it.
Which sucks because, well, I mean, no, let me not say that. That doesn't suck. What sucks is this is a really good record.
Yeah.
And I would really like to sell this and let people listen to this and hey man, fucking.
They don't have a version of it without the swastika.
No, you got to get a big piece of black tape and put it on there.
But it's still there, even if you take it off.
It's still there. You just take the tape off, and the swastika's still there.
Still there.
And then it's on the other side, so you got to be sure to get both. So fucking goddamn,
they didn't have the foresight to think to have two versions.
It's such a fucking good record. It is so good, and then they put a fucking swastika on it because they're assholes. Don't do that.
Why hamstring yourself like that?
I can't show this to my. You know what I'm saying? whenever
we're showing it to all you fine folks because
Yeah.
you know exactly what you're in for.
Well, we got this is a podcast. We can sit here and we can talk about this for an
Right.
extended period of time. But if I had this on the rack somewhere when I'm trying to sell other records and my art, and people are like, oh, cool, what the fuck is this? Hey, motherfucker.
They would blow your shop up.
No.
They're just being assholes. They're just being dumb
you know,
kids.
it's just this whole nuanced thing I'm going to explain to you, and you'll
You got no time for that.
No. How about you just don't put a fucking swastika on your shit to begin with?
Let's make this simple.
Yeah, just keep it real simple. So, God, fuck. It's such a dope record, though.
So
It
they were
really
able to
fucking
find
is.
a label to print it.
Yeah.
Yeah. More than once, apparently.
Regain Records does not give a shit.
Yeah.
There's a lot of labels that don't.
They don't. Well, we've seen it from the other covers.
Yeah. Creep Purple Records out of Lithuania. They put out some Mephistofeles stuff, and they put out some stuff with some questionable iconography before. But I don't think that the dude who runs that label is propagating.
He's not all about it. He's just
the
like
ideology. He's just
send me your stuff.
Yeah, just like y'all like metal. Here's some metal.
Well, like even when you read the story, the manifesto thing, it's like this is a cursed record. Cursed.
The most cursed record of all time.
The most cursed record. So of course they're gonna
put a swastika on it. Fucking God.
It's like the South Park episode. Put a chicken in it and make her lame. Put a goat head on it and put a swastika on it. Turn it sideways. I mean, yeah, they went for the
They totally
the
went
blackest
for it.
of
They really
black.
did. Yeah. Because this whole record, I think it's kind of like their ironic take on black metal in a way.
Yeah.
Because the way that he's singing there.
Okay.
I think there's like one or two other tracks where he sings, and it's not like that. It's more like a heavy pop song.
Right. But this one, he goes he's more towards it.
He's doing that hiss.
Yeah.
It's like the black metal hiss.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of like
it's their like
a
jab
weird
at it.
little jab at it. Yeah, but that's just me looking at it for a really long time. And
all right, so what are we? Yeah, who are we listening to next? We got that's Thule.
Okay, that's Thule. Yeah,
who might be Mephistofeles.
So we're gonna wrap it up with this band from Argentina called Wicca.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Look at that cover.
Yeah. They fucking rock. Check it out.
Yeah.
So this is on DHU, Dark Hedonistic Union, record label out of the Netherlands. They're awesome.
Oh, it's only
EP.
It's
It's
only
an
3
EP,
songs.
Yeah, so
okay.
this is an EP. So this came with a bunch of stuff. God, I got all this fucking crap in here. So this was like the outside band. So that would go like that. It came with that.
Is this a bumper sticker?
No, it goes on the outside like.
Oh, it's wrapped around. Okay, yeah,
It came with. Here's the band.
Okay.
She sings.
Gotcha. So a little poster as well.
It comes with this groovy little poster. It came with stickers. It came with a download code. It came with a postcard.
Nice.
With the
upside down cross. Okay. Yeah.
And this version came with a 7-inch that's got 2 tracks on it.
Oh, because limited to 90. So this is a limited edition.
So this was a limited version that came with a 7-inch, and I'm gonna shove all this back in the fucking bag. Some of these I forget on my shelf. They come with these 7 inches, and I totally forget about it. I was looking for one today and forgot I hadn't separated.
It's inside the other record. Yeah. Now, do you when we sell records on Things from Beyond, do we package what mostly do we put in?
Oh yeah, I put in posters and stickers.
Posters and stickers.
Pretty much all of them. Not all of them, but most of them come with a poster.
Yeah.
I can't always do a poster.
Is this Thule? Oh no, this is this is the current.
Wicca.
Yeah,
We're
this
about
is
to
Wicca.
put that in. Okay, I'm just.
Okay. Oh, that's the Thule still on there. All right, I was gonna put it up, but it's in here.
Yeah.
All right, cool. And then what track from this one are we gonna listen to?
We'll just listen to the first one called
13
Women.
13 Women. All right. And Argentina as well, right?
Yeah, they're from Argentina too. And
Yeah.
fuck. Okay, sorry, I'm getting like awkwardly stuck here. Anyway, blah blah blah. Yeah, so we're gonna check them out. Wicca, 13 women. Here we go.
Let's do it. first question. Why? What made you want to close with that one?
It starts with a W.
Oh, that's right. You did say alphabetical order.
It's just alphabetical order, man. Yeah, in no order of anything else other than the alphabet.
That's true. You did say that.
Yeah.
So that's one of the more sludgier songs of today.
Yeah. So
it was in the
more sludge metal.
Depths,
a little kind of faster tempo.
Yeah.
More of a kind of heavy rock vibe.
Yeah. Everyone's in sync. There's not a lot of traveling between the two instruments. Everyone's kind of in on that groove. Yeah.
And but still has that big, heavy, fuzzy sound.
Oh yeah.
Loud amps. It's got a groove, psychedelic, occult approach. It's a really interesting band. I really like this record. Listened to it a lot when it first came out. I was spinning those 3 tracks.
Yeah.
This is just one of their EPs. They've got 1 or 2. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. So is it another power trio or is this a 4-piece?
4-piece.
4-piece. Okay.
Yeah. Female singer. Kind of different from a lot of the stuff we played today.
Right.
But there's a lot of good bands in the scene, all throughout Latin America that have women singing and playing guitar and playing drums and playing bass, and so they're an important part of.
They're all in on it too. They're welcomed into the community.
Absolutely.
Yeah, of course.
Very important part of it.
Yeah, just whoever wants to.
So despite the sexual exploitation that we see in a lot of these album covers, there's a lot of women in the scene.
Yeah, and they're like it's probably some of the maybe not the one Mephistofeles insert, but it's maybe their idea. They're like, I want to put this on the cover. This is a little bit more tame. Obviously more tame than what we've seen.
Right.
But like you said,
you're gonna see this all throughout doom culture, like this, this 60s dirty magazine picture. With some S&M like in someone's bedroom, where that looks like it's on a mattress somewhere with like a white wall, like it's like a
panel wall, wood paneling, wood panel walls,
some shitty hotel room where someone's.
I mean, that looks like a concrete wall.
Yeah, like what the fuck? So, that weird aesthetic.
Yeah. Very dirty.
Yeah, like it's just raunchy and dirty.
Raunchy is what I was thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah, and nasty. They bring that in and celebrate it and have a lot of fun with it and fucking play some great music.
Well, I mean, because what music. Other imagery could what could you put? You could put a space maybe for some bands, but not all bands are in that realm.
Yeah, I don't know. Skulls, skulls and crossbones, some snakes.
I mean, we've seen all those things, but interwoven with dirty images.
Yeah.
We saw the snake that was traded out. We have the skull.
This stuff is rooted in the origin story of heavy metal and rock and roll. This style of music. So it's gonna all be about very basic things: sex, drugs, rock and roll, Satan worship.
They took that to heart.
Yeah, absolutely.
Those 3 words.
Yeah.
With this scene. Yeah.
Sex, drugs, rock and roll, Satan worship.
Yeah.
4.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Sex, drugs, rock and roll, Satan worship.
So Wicca, they come in last, like you said, but not only,
No, we just played them live.
Yeah.
Played them last.
They haven't, once again, haven't played the U.S. probably either, right?
No, it's another great band that probably can't play here. So I think they've played Europe. So all these bands we've played,
right?
I think have played Europe.
Yeah, it's because it's easier to get into.
They can fly to Europe, no problem. But come here to the land of the free, nope. It's really fucking
It's gonna
hard.
take you a year at least to come.
And fucking
legally.
$10,000 to a fucking immigration lawyer.
Yeah.
To hold everybody's hand while they fill out paperwork.
Yeah.
They don't tell you this whenever you go to doom metal record label school.
That your band will never tour in your biggest market.
You will never get these bands here.
Everyone you're selling to will not be able to see this band
live. They
live.
will never, ever, ever see them play live.
Unless they play.
Maybe they will.
America.
We need to find a big pile of money somewhere.
Yeah, get them all here at one time.
Find a bloody satchel somewhere full of a couple $1 million, and we'll throw a festival, and we'll get everybody up here.
Dude,
we'll bribe everybody.
Everyone would show up to that too.
Everybody would come.
Because they'd be like,
we'd make a big fucking deal out of it.
Yeah, because this is your one chance.
This is your one chance to see all these awesome Latin American, South American bands.
Yeah.
Play your hometown. We need like a field somewhere. Like we'll rent some ranch.
No, you know what it is? Panther Island in Fort Worth.
Rent Panther Island.
Panther Island, yeah. It's got that amphitheater
right there on the river.
It's not like
views of downtown. It's really nice.
No, it's not like that one place here at Dos Equis Pavilion, the old Starplex.
Yeah, the old
where there's a little bit of green.
Rest in peace, the old Starplex. Yeah,
it's mostly green. You know, it's mostly like an open festival kind of feel, but it's just the one venue. You could probably do multiple stages, but I mean, it's from what I remember of it, it's set up like that for festivals.
We'll do it.
I think that'd be a good
we
spot
will.
for it.
We will find a bloody satchel of money. We'll rent Panther Island. We'll pay $10,000 fucking dollars.
Is it gonna be per band?
No, that's for everybody.
Yeah, it's like
that was for a big group. I said, how many? I asked her how much would it cost for, 3 to 4 bands with 3 to 4 people each.
Oh, okay.
And she gave me a ballpark figure. She said,
all
in for everything that everybody's got to do, including my fee, it'll be $10,000.
Wow.
And I said, well, that's a lot of money. She says, yes, it is, but it's because you're doing a lot of people.
Yeah.
So,
don't you think it wouldn't cost? It's just paperwork at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's a whole lot of filing and processing and fees for all kinds of shit that they gotta fucking do for all the. So, and it would take them, a couple of years before they could fucking get an appointment to get an interview.
Yeah.
To get looked up and down, and then they say, "Get out of here."
Yeah.
Like they said to.
And you got to make sure
Mr.
it's the right year with the right federal administration.
Fucking thing going on that they'll let Mexicans come hang out legally in the U.S. and play doom metal.
Yeah.
And hang out with us, but no, fuck. They didn't tell me any of this.
No, I mean, yeah. It's not a problem. Because you never had to. It's a question you never asked before.
Yeah, I never had to ask that question.
No.
Before. What would I?
No. It was never. It's not something you would look up randomly. It's not something you would ask anybody until you start to want to do things like that. Hey, I want to start legally bringing people in from South America to stay a few weeks. How does that happen?
Yeah, and play music.
And earn money.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we can pay them for their tour and their music sales and everything, and for their merch sales and for ticket sales and everything. We're in a van. Who's going to drive all this? But no, it's really hard to get people from certain countries to come here. That's why there are no Mexican, Argentinian, Chilean bands that play here very much. Not very many at all. It's just so fucking hard to do.
I remember the first time you mentioned this, I thought about it, and I'm like, because you're only used to seeing U.S. bands that travel the U.S. every year all the time.
Right.
Just like the band I went to go see last night, and it's like they came from Canada, which obviously is easy to.
They just drive right in.
Just drove right in, no problem.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. I mean, they don't even fucking check them. But if a Mexican band tried to do it, it's a whole big thing. It's
a 2-year process, my friend.
And even then, they can still tell them no.
Right.
Just because you apply and pay fees doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
They can still.
Yeah. So they can still deny the visa. Yeah.
That's right. So
even after going through the process.
Yeah. What if you can get in 3 members of the band, but not 4?
Yeah, exactly. On top of that, they're like, there's something about him we don't like, or he's like, that's true. And to do that with 5 bands,
right? They hope that everybody can get in.
Yeah.
That no one's ever been arrested for weed before. That's on their permanent record in Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's gonna be onesie twosies, one at a time, man. Until things change.
Yeah. So that's why we might look at Europe.
Well, yeah, dude. Well, you mentioned that early when you were talking about the different labels coming out of there. I was thinking to myself, we're gonna have to do one of these episodes from, the record store or the printing city, wherever city that's in.
Yeah, they fucking.
You said there's one in the Czech Republic.
They press all of our shit in the Czech Republic, so we
yeah.
should go there and hang out while they're pressing a record. That'd be fucking cool.
Yeah, we're gonna. Show
They would
you
let
guys
us
that.
like walk around with microphones and cameras and geek out at some hot new things from beyond pressing.
Yeah,
I bet you they would hook that up.
well, I mean, it'd be like, you want to do what? Sure, I guess. Go ahead. You know,
We can check that out.
Yeah.
That might be cool.
and then we'll be in Prague, and outside of that, you know, I mean, that's I went there a long time ago.
You're trying to go back to the Czech Republic.
I do. Well, as soon as you said that's where they were made, I think that's the idea was
That trigger something.
begun. I was like, that's could be interesting.
Were you incepted with something in Inception?
The only thing that didn't, yes, I was, and the only thing that wasn't included was that we can't live stream because apparently live streamers overseas have been causing a running amok, to say.
Well, we're not really run amuckers.
We wouldn't do that. Yeah.
Go like tear ass up in a record plant.
And be like, don't you know we're American?
Yeah.
No, we wouldn't be the ugly Americans.
No, we wouldn't. We would know
Yeah.
better than that.
Yeah.
Man. We don't do that kind of thing.
So, all right. So that's our last song for the show. Close it out. That's our tour of Chilean and Argentinian, the scene, kind of a little mix of everything that's going on down there. What do we have any idea what we're going to do on the next show? By any chance?
Maybe not specifically exactly what we're going to do the next show, but coming up.
Yeah.
So what we're going to be doing coming in a lot of our next episodes, we're going to be interviewing and talking with a lot of the bands on our label.
That's right. Yeah.
So we're going to set it up. We're going to have a Zoom call with them, video conference, something.
We'll bring them into the picture image thing.
Virtually.
Screen. Yeah.
Figure out how to get it all mixed in here, and then we'll talk to them about the records.
Yeah.
You know, about
And we'll spin something with
yeah,
them.
yeah, spin their records, and we'll talk to them about where they're from, what the scene's like. Because we've got 2 bands from Durango, and then the rest of them are from Mexico City.
Mexico City proper, yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to get a deep dive, a masterclass into what's going on in Mexico City and in Durango that is motivating these guys to create this
Nice.
awesome sound.
Yes.
So we're going to talk to each band very
In depth. Yeah.
very in depth and individually as
Yeah.
groups.
Yeah. Individually as groups.
Individually as bands.
Yeah.
We're going to talk to each band, each episode, 1 episode for each band.
Nice.
So that's what we're going to be working on as far as the next few
Bringing
podcasts.
them on. Yeah. Yeah.
As well as finishing up or continuing, as well as continuing the history of Doom.
Right.
We'll
I think we're catching up to the 90s.
we'll pick it up with the 70s.
70s, yeah.
And then the 80s, and then the 90s, and then we'll do, kind of do 10-year blocks.
Yeah.
Eventually getting it up to today.
Today.
So we'll do, maybe we could do, we can do 10 to 20-year blocks, eventually bringing it up to
Okay,
today.
cool.
Yeah, so that's what's coming up down the pipe of our podcast here.
All right. Well, then that closes it for
today.
today.
That wraps this one up.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we'll catch you on the next one.
All right, like and subscribe.
That is true.
Thank you.